Laughing, Aldragorn joined them, all three shouting at the top of their lungs. The golden crane flies for Tarmangaden.
It's so funny. That is right. Welcome back, book club clubbers, to the Nerdy, the Wordy, the Book Club, a club where we read a book that is nerdy. This week, that book is The Knife of Daggers.
My favorite dagger, The Knife of Daggers.
Chapters 13 through 20. It is also St. Patrick's Day, so I'm wearing green shirt, she's wearing green pants, and she's drinking a green drink.
I got green. See, it's right here.
Don't pinch us. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
We are not greened up. We started the day with some stuff we got to talk about. First, Dirt Burb.
Dirt Burb, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships.
10 gifted membos, including Clarus Polarus. You got a gifted membo.
Thank you. Appreciate
to the channel.
It.
There's also a super chat from Dirt Burb.
Thank you.
Saying off to a doctor's appointment this morning, but had to drop a little something for one of my favorite chapters in the series. The Golden Crane flies for Tarmangadan.
It does. Thank you so much for that
and
super
we
chat.
fly for Land Mandragoran as well. And Aldragoran.
Yeah, Mandragoran, Mandarin, Aldragoran.
Yep,
like they're all
yep.
like I can't. I'm like
well done, Lan Jordan, Robert.
Well done, Jordan.
Hey, Aldragoran, do you want to ride for Mandragoran? And you're like, oh my god, I can't with the
like
names.
My tongue. I'm usually pretty good at tongue twisters, but Kenny, thank you for the super chat.
More people probably know Bella from the Twilight series and the Wheel of Time series. Spare your car the shame. That Kenny Theology, thank you for reminding me. I have to start that poll.
You do have to start that poll.
I think I should click on this.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a poll today. There are two options, y'all.
We're naming the car.
We're not going to choose one until the end of the stream, so you have the entire stream to get your vote in. But we are going to name the car either Bella or Karn. I think I spelled that right.
Because nobody got 50% of the vote, and we're a democracy, so...
But at the end of the stream today, we will take a look, check in with that poll, and see how she's doing.
Yeah.
But until then, we have a couple of housekeeping things to get to. Before, I know, right? Very exciting. First of which is we have a P.O. box. We do have a P.O. box. It's not the one listed online because we just changed our P.O. box, so don't send us anything today. And until we change it, we should have changed that last night.
Should have changed what?
Our P.O. box.
Well, where is it listed?
On your Twitch.
Yeah, but no one. We're on YouTube. We're on YouTube,
We're gonna make the P.O. box more visible because people sent us stuff.
I can put it in the chat, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. James Ross in the chat sent us something because of The Expanse, and we were like, well, fuck, we'll open it at the beginning of book club as a thank you.
Yeah.
And then we don't know what it is, so. The Expanse. Oh, it's an Expanse thing.
Yeah, you didn't. Oh.
I don't know what it is.
I knew it was an Expanse thing, that's all that I knew.
I don't know what it is.
Guys.
Oh, I know what it is. Oh, shit, wait, let's go.
Oh, we're gonna have to... Oh, I understand.
Well, you know what it is.
Wait. Oh.
I love GSS says react to 6 AOT episodes. My dude. My dang dude.
If you would like to pay our editor, absolutely.
We're literally going to finish season 2 next week. Calm down. Everybody calm down.
Okay, so B goes to B.
A goes to A, and C goes to C.
Hell yeah! And I think this is just like an extra, like The Expanse. The Expanse.
What is this? Oh no, there's C.
No, there's C. We got a middle piece here.
Oh my god!
And
it's Lego.
It's
Lego.
Lego.
And there's like a bunch of little pieces too. We're not gonna do this right now.
No, gosh, no.
But we have our own Rocinante. I, Don Quixote, the Lord of La Mancha, my destiny calls and I go.
We'll have to put that together.
Let's fucking go. Thank you so much, James Ross.
Thank you.
We will share that on all our socials when it is built and sanded and painted.
Yes.
That's exciting.
I also got a hat.
You are a goofy goober.
It doesn't stay on very well.
Thank you, James Ross. We very much appreciate that. I'm excited. I don't know how
thank
it's
you.
going to fit, but we're going to have it somewhere. It will live somewhere.
Oh,
It will probably... I have so many spaceships.
That is true. At this point, yes.
So Clarus, that's most of the housekeeping out of the way.
Is it most of it?
Is there anything else you need to talk about?
Don't have any titty milk today, but I do have some guacamole gamer fart 9000 and a waifu to keep me happy at night.
Yeah, thank you, GamerSups.
So
we love you. You taste good,
that.
and you make us feel better.
If you need caffeine, but you don't like coffee, like me, this shit's great.
Yes.
It gets me through.
Yeah, we have a coupon code. You can use Clarus at gamersubs.gg. Clarus with 2 O's, and you can get yourself some for
10% off.
10% off?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's a whole 10%.
They dropped a new waifu cup today.
We need to go buy that, because you like to stare at titties.
What?
What?
How dare you call me out like that?
Oh no! How dare I speak the truth?
Yes.
Clarus, how did you feel about Knife of Dreams, chapters 13 through 20?
You said it wrong. It's fine. I'll forgive you. Well, so we had some like kind of cool stuff going on, you know, a little behind the scenes. It was like plodding along. It's like, okay, all right, we're getting somewhere. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. And then it was like bang, boom, crash, explosions for the last 2 chapters. So I'm glad we reacted to those.
Yeah.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Chapter 19 is an all-time chapter. Top chapter of the series. Not like number 1. I still think the Battle of Emond's Field is the best chapter in the whole series. But I think chapter 19 is an all-timer. The mixture of the comedy of Loyal's wedding with the seriousness
like,
and the
fight.
carnage and the scope of that battle.
Yeah.
I have some like the battle made me think like funny thoughts that I want to go through with you guys today. We're gonna laugh at it a little bit, just playfully. But I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. Blue, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the
Need
super
that
chat.
new P.O. box as soon as possible.
I'm putting it in there right now.
Yeah. Chapter 19 would look great if well done on screen. I disagree, Malindio. I think that no one has the money to pull it off.
Yeah.
Like, I actually don't know how you would
That's
visualize
expensive.
that.
Yeah, as much as I like want to see it, like I would love to. It's one of those things where it's very costly. Oh, also, I grabbed the PO box number. Like our unit number is 420.
You're such a troll. Caveat, well done. Yeah. I think it would look great animated. I agree, Nicholas Reed. I think I just don't really see how you do that in live action unless you are like Avengers Endgame, right? Because like when you start to think about 100,000 people, that is the scope of the Battle of Avengers Endgame. Like I think even Helm's Deep, there's only 10,000 Urukai, right?
Yeah. The address in the chat for you, Blue. I'll also put it in the Discord.
I'm gonna throw that in the video description down below.
Oh yeah. Cool. That is fair. New PO box. I'm also putting it in like, I guess, partnerships. In the Discord.
Right. Yeah, so when I first heard of a Wheel of Time show, I thought about 100,000 charging Trollocs. It's so many.
It is a lot. It's one of those things where I'm like, how many Trollocs does the Shadow have, and where is he keeping them?
But also, can I be pedantic for like 1 second?
You have 60 seconds to be pedantic.
Okay, let's say you can get 100,000 Trollocs through the ways. How long did that take? Because everything we've learned about the ways is that the bridges are about 2 people wide at most.
Yes.
Right? And so if you're moving 100,000 Trollocs through the ways, you are moving them at most in a column 50,000 Trollocs long. While also providing food along that entire column, because they can only camp like maybe 10 to a platform at a time.
Yeah.
Like
they literally
the scope
sprawl
of
the entire ways.
Like if they just like if it hadn't been for that chapter where they're like he moved all these Trollocs into the ways, I wouldn't have thought about it. But I was thinking about the ways and I was like, How the fuck did that work? They're marching 2 by 2. We're going door to door. Samel wants Randad and he wants it now.
100,000 is our sacrifice.
And so, like, as the battle was so cool, and then when I was, like, lying down later that night, I was thinking about, like, the scope of 100,000, and then the waves popped in my head, and I was like, the fuck did that look like?
Yeah. Literally 2 by 2. 50,000 deep. Yeah. That is
but also,
funny.
like, how many Trollocs did they lose in the ways?
At least half. Like, they started off with 200,000.
I just can't imagine they're very good at, like, not pushing each other off.
No, I imagine not. Yeah.
Brian Nixie, thank you for that super chat. The Wheel of Time show affording to faithfully adapt chapter 19.
In this economy. But you're right,
That's
though.
true.
But
That's not even a
right.
joke. That's not even a joke. We need to not talk about the real world economy right now, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything is fine.
Yeah. It's,
I don't mind.
It is a question we have, how the fuck they're gonna afford to do that.
I don't mind at all that they have 100,000 Trollocs. Like, whatever. The Shadow's gonna have whatever number of enemies it has. It just, I was just giggling to myself thinking about 100,000 Trollocs trying to, like, tiptoe across bridges in the dark and not kill each other.
Yeah.
And then I was doing the math at the end of it, right? Say 2 Trollocs can go through a waygate at a time.
Even the opening to the gate is maybe like 4 maximum. But
no,
those bridges are 2.
Ogier can only Loyal, when he goes through the waygate, he goes through by himself because there's no room on either side of him.
Right, that's true.
So if you can only fit maximum 2 Trollocs through at a time, then there was a Murdral standing at the door to that waygate for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Like 2 days of real time watching Trollocs. Because if you can get 2 Trollocs through every second, you can only get 3,600 Trollocs through an hour.
You did the math?
Yes, I did the math.
You did the math. So
Michael,
how many hours
you can't
is that?
Gateway out of the ways into the real world, though,
Wait,
right?
how many hours is that?
No, I guess it'd be 1 day. Because it'd be 10 hours to get to 36. Because no, you can do 3,600 lines of Trollocs. So that's actually 7,000. So it would take like 20 hours for them all to just walk through the gateway at the end of the thing. Yeah.
Unless Ishamael knows how to travel and can make a really big opening. And they didn't actually use the gateways.
I want the scene of the 2 Murdral on either side of the gateway, right? They're trying to get out of the waygate. I want the 2 Murdral on either side going, keep moving. No, you can't. There's 100,000 Trollocs coming. Just run. Just keep running as far as you can. Like, because the first Trollocs out of the waygate would have to run like 6 kilometers.
To make space for the
To make space for the rest that coming in behind it.
Right. Oh, you're right. Gateways kill Trollocs.
They had to go through that waygate 2 by 2 for hours. And the Murdral, I just know there's some Murdral, like, there's that one Trolloc that, like, gets through and is like, oh my god, I'm somewhere else. And the Murdral's like, move! You got to keep moving. I'm not gonna stand here for 4 fucking days. Let's go. And I want that scene in the show, Rafe. That is I want the Murdral having to be, like, just be, like, pissed. It's hour 18, bags under his eyes. He's just furious because these fucking Trollocs won't get through the waygate fast enough.
His eyes.
I want it so bad. Yeah, no, but he doesn't have eyes. He just has bags. He just has bags where his eyes should be. That's hilarious.
No, that is fair. Like, I did not think about that, but it is an interesting point that, like, yeah, the Trollocs would have to go through 2 by 2. But I think that was longer than 60 seconds.
What was longer than 60 seconds?
Oh, I said you could be pedantic for 60 seconds.
Yeah. James Ross, thank you for that. I got 11.4 hours at 5 miles per hour with a 6-foot spacing.
Thank you, James Ross. You're doing the Lord's work here.
I want that scene so bad. I just want the Murdral, and I want like a timer on screen, and like it speeds up, and then it slows down for the Murdral's most angry moments, and then but we get the time lapse of the whole thing.
Yeah, if you take too long, you get decapitated for food. So,
I also do not think that there were 100,000 Trollocs.
Huh?
I don't think there were 100,000 Trollocs. I think that Rand looked out the window and was like, yeah, it's about 100,000. But I don't know that Rand can do math. Rand never learned algebra. He's a fucking farmer.
Algebra, no, but here's the thing. He has, like, Luz Theron's, like, memories. So he could, like, look at 100,000 and be like, that looks roughly around what 100,000
You would have
like.
no fucking clue. You would have no idea.
I would have no clue. There
could be like 6,000 Trollocs out there, and for all Rand knows, it's 100,000.
Oh my god.
The most people, like, Rand has, like, been to Tarvalon, but, like, if you look at you could show me 80,000 people and 100,000 people, I would not be able to tell you the difference. That's too many people.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't know either, but
I think that this is like when Trump saw his inauguration numbers and he was like, I had the greatest inauguration of all time. And people were like, there were some people there, but, like, the photos show you're a liar.
No, I saw them all. I counted.
I think Rand is just, because Min is in the room, Rand is going around and he's like, there were 100,000, we killed 100,000 Trollocs, and I think that Cat Swain is knitting like, the fuck we did.
No, it's Loyal being like, nope, definitely 100,000, Aerith, definitely 100,000.
He's just like, I need to get her ears hard. I need to get her ears hard. All right, we've had enough jokey time. Let's actually get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary friends, this is The Knife of Daggers Dreams, Chapter 13, Siege. Siege.
Siege.
Siege?
Wow, learning how to read during
That's
book
how you
club.
spell siege?
Yeah? Wait, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I was like, excuse me?
It's just one of those words that I look at and I get angry.
You're like, that's wrong, right? Like, that's incorrect.
Like, no, but there's no way somebody chose S-I-E-G-E as the way to spell siege. That's not possible, right?
One day I had, like, a crisis because I thought the word in looked wrong. And I was like, it's 2 letters, and I know that.
I-N?
Yeah, but I was like, it looks like it should have more to it. I don't know. I had a breakdown. It was bad. It was a bad day.
Clearly. God damn.
It's like the word in is incorrect. Oh, man.
Yeah. So,
machete of butter knife.
Guys, the first half of today's book club is going to be the minutes of whoever was following Elaine around while she went to several meetings. Can we talk about the structure of Knife of Dreams really quick before we get into it?
Yeah.
One of the things that I am not loving, and I did like this week's reading a lot.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm not liking about this book right now is the tendency Robert Jordan has to have 4 or 5 chapters where nothing really happens. And it's just like info dump where our main character is learning the minute ways the characters around its situations have changed. For like 4 or 5 chapters, and then there's a chapter that is a banger.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything's different.
That's literally at the beginning. You're like, how do you feel about it? And I was like, oh, we kind of did some stuff, and then it was like, bam! And I was like, whoa. Also, Blue, thank you for gifting 20 memberships.
Oh, shit. Blue! What's you doing, Blue?
Blue's out here making sure everyone can see the audiobook reaction.
Oh my god, you're ridiculous.
Goddamn. Blue, thank you so much. Also, Blue, I if you send something, we still have the old P.O. box address for a bit, so, yeah, you don't need to, like, worry about it that much.
Yeah.
But,
I think we have it for, like, a month.
Until the end of this month.
Yeah. So it'll be fine.
Goddamn. Thank you, Blue.
He paid for the reaction. We're gonna watch it.
I guess so.
Well, we'll get to the reactions when we get to those chapters. We'll talk about that then. But thank you, Blue. That was... Yeah. You are the beast.
A lot of green in chat. You love to see it.
A lot of green for St. Patty's Day.
You should name your car Blue. When we paint it blue, we'll name it Blue.
People would be so confused. They'd be like...
Like, what? Blue?
Blue?
Isn't blue...
Your car's white.
No, like, it isn't blue the, No, actually, I don't think it's spelled that way. Never mind. There was like a...
Nice addition to the conversation. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
I only add the highest of intellect to a room.
But yeah, no. So Elaine's section, much like Perrin's and much like Matt's, kind of plays out in this. The character goes around and other people tell that character things for several chapters.
Yeah.
And like it's interesting information in that their situations have changed slightly, but it always ends with a chapter of like, and then the information that their situation is going to change soon comes. But because we've done it 3 times now, like each week of the reading, we've had the exact same narrative structure.
Yeah.
I found this Elaine stuff a little bit tiresome just because I was like, oh, I see what I am too far ahead of how Robert Jordan is telling this story.
You're like, I know how this is going to go.
And then, like, we get to the Aramilla thing where she's like, and in a week, we're going to do things. And I was like, well, just cut to that week. I don't need all this in-between stuff.
And the thing is, as well, I think what makes it stand out, particularly, is that the exciting bit always jumps to a new person.
Yeah. It's like, something is about to happen in the storyline.
Next.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it stand out, like, a lot more than it would have. You know, like, I think, like, pretty normal structure of, like, storytelling is, like, build up and then boom, right? You know, you have that, like...
But you boom and then you show the other side of it, right? Like, you show the resolution as opposed to build up, big drop of information.
Moving on to the next person.
And then cutting to the most pedantic meeting about, like, corn reserves. But like, literally, right? Like, cutting to, oh, no, there's weevils in the grain yard. And you're like... Yeah. And without Crossroads of Twilight, I don't think that I would feel it as much. Mm-hmm. But because so many of these storylines did this once already, we've already had the, like, 5-chapter stretch with Perrin talking about ways to get Fail out, but not doing it. We've had 5 chapters of Matt riding down the road with the circus with Tuon and you know, and we've had almost this exact same series of meetings with Elaine, like, a week earlier. And, like, things have progressed in those storylines, but they haven't changed. Like, Elaine's situation, we go through 5 chapters of Elaine having meetings with people, and her situation is no different at the beginning of those meetings as they were at the beginning.
And see, this is where, because when we were talking about it the other day, this is where you and I disagree.
I agree with you that, like, though all of the, like, situations have changed, but in terms of Elaine's ability to move her plot forward, she is not in a different position. Yeah. I agree, like, things have changed in those stories, right? We now know more about why certain people are holding off and why characters are staying put. But what we don't have through those 5 chapters is any difference for Elaine.
Yeah.
She goes to all these meetings and is like, I'm not giving you more money to the merchants, or to the mercenaries. Yeah. And they're like, well, okay. I'm not going to go down and talk to those nobles myself, so they're just going to stay put down south. So I don't have more allies. The only thing that happens that kind of changes their position is the guy shows up with the soldiers.
Well, the guy shows up, he adds about 10,000 soldiers to her
But even
army.
Elaine gets that and is like, it doesn't really make a difference, right? And, like, that's...
Which is crazy to me,
but that's my frustration with it, is that I'm like, it's 5 chapters that is all interesting, and I like Elaine a lot. Yeah. That is in service of an endpoint where the only character who is fundamentally in a different place at the end of it is Armilia, who is going to attack in a week.
Yeah, because because Elaine is losing those mercenaries to Armilia, right?
Yes. Well, maybe. We'll see what happens in the intervening week.
It's kind of what they make it seem like.
A week is a long time in a siege. Things can happen, you know?
Yeah. But I keep waiting for Gawain to show up and, like, you know, bring with him recruits from God knows where, because he's got, like...
Gawain?
Yeah, because he's got the younglings with him.
Gawain is by Tarvalon.
Yeah, I want Gawain to fucking show up for Elaine. You know what I mean? Like, that
would be interesting.
There's no way he hasn't heard about what's going on in Andor. Right? There's no way, like that kind of news would be so significant, especially with people traveling around trying to find people for the army. Yeah. And so I kind of keep waiting for him to show up, and I hope that he does. I'll be kind of sad if he's left out of this, like, plot arc, story arc.
I think he is, because he's probably still in that town near Tarvalon.
Yeah, I hope not.
That's like 2 months away. Like, he's like a 2-month ride.
Well, unless he, like, goes to a town where one of the, like, kin pop up and are like, hey, we're recruiting for Elaine, you know?
Maybe, yeah. Let's go chapter by chapter, though, and we'll talk through it. So, chapter 13, this chapter should not have been from Elaine's POV, personally. That's just, I'm going to say that. This should have been from anyone fighting or doing things. Yeah,
we got the end of a battle.
Well, and we got the end of a battle from a perspective of someone who's watching from a, like, vantage point where she can't really see what's going on fully. And I was like, just have this from Bagheet's point of view. If you're gonna have us in, like, the battle, don't cut from the last chapter, which is like, oh my god, Perrin was almost murdered, to Elaine is frustrated because she's pregnant and cannot go do the thing, and so she's just gonna sit there and watch. And I was like, there's an actual like interesting thing happening.
Yeah, what Brigitte's point of view, you know?
And so we're like literally like, okay, yeah, Elaine is frustrated because she's pregnant and no one will let her fight, even though she is not capable of fighting and refuses to use the power as a weapon, which is the dumbest fucking shit in the world.
See, I also disagree with you there, because I think that if Elaine takes the throne with the power, that creates a lot of resentment and openings up for people to not welcome her rule, right? She has to kind of earn it fair and square, which fair and square by the laws of Camelin is obviously questionable for sure. But using the one power, she wants people to look at her as an Aes Sedai, and the Aes Sedai can't use the power as a weapon. So she basically,
but I'm not saying
like
use it as a weapon. I'm saying use it smart. Like I'm saying that Elaine needs to get some fucking like strategy up in here, and use the one power to make it so that their ladders do not connect with the wall. Like, there are so many easy ways to not use the one power as a weapon, but use it to defend the walls. You could literally create a barrier so that when they put their ladders up, they bounce off. Is that a weapon? Probably not. No, but I'm serious, right? You could open a gateway in the middle of the ocean and then open the other side of the gateway at the like uphill part of Armilia's camp and flood their camp with seawater. Yeah. Like, there are things that she could be doing, and she's like, I don't know. Yeah. But she is willing to use that as a weapon because she is willing to gateway soldiers to the wall. Right? She has the soldiers in the main camp, and where Armilia's team attacks, they gateway the soldiers there to defend. So the one power is being used here. Yes. It's just not being used in a way that gives them any actual advantage. Yeah. And I'm like, you have fewer soldiers, you have people dying. Like, I'm sorry that you like don't want to use it, but get over yourself. You want to be fucking queen, you gotta be a little bit ruthless.
Yeah, and I wish that because we get these chapters from her perspective, I wish that she did talk about why she doesn't use the one power, you know, because I like.
But she is using them. She's just using them for like the only things that.
What I'm saying is she clearly has a reason that she's not doing it, and part of the reason that we get is along the lines of, you know, Aes Sedai don't use the one power as a weapon, and I promised Egwene that I would try and live by the three oaths, and the three oaths are what make Aes Sedai, which, like, is fine, I guess. I obviously think it's a little bit silly, but I feel like it has to go deeper than that. I feel like there has to be a reason that, like, taking the throne of Camelin with the one power would be, like, highly frowned upon. But I agree, there are so many ways that she used. Could...
Like you can only make that argument if you are not using the one power at all. But there are gateways slicing open the air to allow soldiers to get around. So, like, she can't say she didn't use the one power. Yeah. She is. And so the line of what she's willing to use it for and what she isn't is so arbitrary that this plotline is going on for no reason because she has the power to stop it.
Yeah.
There should never be an attack on her. Like, honestly, the ground in front of the castle should be fucking ice. And they should slip and fall. Like, there are so many ways to not attack people with the power, but defend a structure with the one power. Also, you could argue that the army trying to kill you would give Aes Sedai the ability to use one power because their express intention is to murder Elaine. Yeah. There is an army of people who are like, we are attacking you to kill that one woman. There's only one woman in the entire city we are here to murder. Yeah. And she's like, can't use the one power as a weapon except to defend myself. Oh, wait, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. They're all there to kill you. Yeah. You are the one life that is legitimately in danger.
Yeah, it is one of those things where if you are against using the one power to take the seat of Camelin, then also using it for gateways and other things kind of seems a little arbitrary.
I think blocking the ladders from being able to connect with the wall is no different than Egwene using Quendalar to starve this populace of Tarvalon and maybe kill them all.
Yeah, like people are dying because Elaine is not using the power or asking other people to use the power.
Thousands of people are dying.
Yeah.
And like this is where I enjoyed reading this chapter. I think Brigitte shines in this chapter.
Yeah,
I really like
agree.
Avienne in this chapter. I actually, like, this was one of the chapters where Elaine's pregnancy was the most interesting, right? Because I like that Elaine is so adamant about being there despite being pregnant and is the kind of character who is not using that as an excuse to back off.
She's like, Min said my babies are going to be fine, so fuck it.
That's a little bit risky, but I just think, like, we're seeing so much of Elaine's character here and the, like, strength of her character, but we're not seeing her be intelligent, and that's frustrating. And, like, I just feel like I want to believe that Adenu says you're trying to justify indirect military use. They're already using it as indirect military use.
Yeah.
Right?
Like bringing in soldiers with the gates.
That you
healing, technically, like...
Where is the line? Right? Like, what is the line here?
She doesn't talk about it. It's just kind of whatever she feels like it. And even though we're inside of her head, we don't get to know her rationale for it.
And so I just was like, if you're going to write this chapter, do it from Brigitte's perspective. So at least I can read about someone who's being active and not just read the because this happens a lot in this book, is we get our main characters POV, Matt, Perrin, and Elaine. We get a lot of them being frustrated for long sections. It's just them being frustrated about the situation they're in. And so I start to get frustrated because I'm just reading about all these characters who I love, who I really care about, who are frustrated. And when I'm just kind of in that loop with them, and I think, like, I'm a pretty empathic person, right? Like, you guys have seen me cry at everything. I feel a lot of what my characters are feeling. And I get really invested in what their emotional states are. And so when we're getting POV after POV after POV, that is a lot of our characters just exclaiming how frustrated they are with the situation they're in. That weighs on me over time. Like, I start to feel that, and I start to internalize that a little bit in a way that I know isn't, like, maybe the healthiest, but it's true about me, right?
Yeah, no, I get that. And I honestly think that she would keep those mercenaries a lot easier if she was using the power to do something. Like you said, fucking, like, I don't know, like icing the ground in front of the walls, or, like, flooding, like, like open up a moat, just have it, like, flood past. Like, there's definitely a lot of creative workarounds that they could be using. Like, now Elaine is having a hard time, like, grabbing onto the power, so making a plan that, like, kind of relies on that would be maybe not the best idea, but it doesn't have to be a plan. She can, like, go out and set things up.
200 kin. she has
the kin
hundreds of channelers.
The kin idolize the Aes Sedai, and so I don't know if they would be willing to use the one power as a weapon because the Aes Sedai
But again, I'm not saying use it as a weapon. I'm saying to use it in the exact same way Egwene is with the Quendalar. It's not a weapon if it's defense.
You might be able to convince some of them.
If all you're doing is saying, just push the ladders off the walls, that's not a weapon. You're not attacking anybody. You are just not allowing them to climb into your castle. Like, and if that is a weapon, then everything is. Then using the gateways as a weapon, which the kin are willing to do.
Yeah, pushing the ladders off could injure or kill people, potentially.
That's their fault, though. If you just make it so that the ladders don't touch the wall, if they decide to climb them, that's on them, right?
Yeah.
I just think that, like, a lot of people are dying.
Yeah, no, I
and
agree.
This is going on for too long, and, like, Elaine has the ability to do this, and she is just not using it because she has decided that there's arbitrary lines, and I think that she should lose. I don't think that you should be queen if you're going to allow arbitrary lines to kill off your populace. Yeah, I think that is bad leadership.
I also think that, like, I'm sure Brigitte has seen a lot of battles where the one power is used and not necessarily as a weapon. I think, like, Brigitte would probably have a lot of interesting knowledge on how to defend or even, like, support her troops better. So it is one of those things where I think there's a big missed opportunity and that people are kind of just dying for Elaine, It's a tough one because I'm sure she has her reasons for not, but we aren't really privy to that, except that she can't use it at one power as a weapon. But then again, you know, there's lots of workarounds, and then are the gateways weapons, and then, well, you know, then what are you going to do? Like, it's a slippery slope.
Adanu says, by your logic, laws are a bad thing, nerdy.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yes. Frequently they are. I don't know if you know this, but yeah, you're right. No, you figured out my logic.
I'm not really I'm not sure what that has
Frequently
to do with
laws are inherently a bad thing.
And there's a lot of workarounds for that.
Yeah. You want to know the problem with laws is that they are not applied equally.
Fair.
You can have great laws, but if you have laws that rich white people can get out of that other people can't, they are inherently bad.
True. Yeah. No, that's true.
Like,
yeah. Just because it's a law doesn't mean it's good. So.
Yeah.
Laws never have loopholes. They're completely airtight.
There is a woman right now who is trying to get out of prison because she was charged for murdering the man who kidnapped and sexually assaulted her for years.
Yeah.
And because she killed him to escape him, she is in prison. I'm just, you're not going to convince me that like the law is the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
Some of them are good, you know, and some people who enforce the law are good. It's rare, but some of them.
I like to think that there's good people out there, you know?
I like to think so too, but every day brings another series of bullshit things that make me go, fuck. Like,
going on Twitter is like, wow, the world's on fire.
How about yours?
Yeah.
That's not the way I like it.
But yeah, also, in case you forgot, Elaine is very pregnant. Very pregnant. But not like actually like very pregnant, because I think maybe she's like 2 months pregnant, but she's like very pregnant.
William Witch, thank you for joining the Nards.
William, welcome to the Nerd Table. Appreciate that.
Yeah, but they do win this fight.
Yeah.
But who knows when the next fight is going to be. So they go back to the castle to heal up the troops, and someone shows up. His name is Charles Z. Gaibon. Charles Z. Gaibon. Charles Z. Gaibon.
It's Charles.
I know, but like, this is one of the worst fantasy spellings of like a real name in this series.
Yeah.
Charles, but it's Charlz. Is just that, Robert, that's fucking garbage.
It's fine. He was running out of ideas at this point.
This feels like a sci-fi name.
I kind of love it.
It's like an alien from Star Wars. Yeah, my name's Charles.
No, it's an android, and it's the Z at the end.
Charles. I just read this. I this was a name. You guys, you all know I'm dyslexic, and sometimes I have to read things multiple times to make sure that I got it right and that my brain isn't fucking with me. And this name was one of those things where I went, there's no way, right? There's no way. No, it's Charles with a Z, but no E. It's very funny to me. And he has 10,000 soldiers with him. Let's go. I was like, oh, the day is won.
Yeah, I was like, 10,000. That's great. That's a lot.
Gandalf has ridden on the dawn of the 5th day, and Elaine goes, it doesn't really change much. And I was like, how the fuck does 10,000 soldiers, how many people are involved in this scuffle?
That's what I want to know, because I'm like, 10,000 seems like it should be significant enough, especially because they're all loyal people and not mercenaries. Like, yeah, you have to still pay and feed and, like, house them, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely less expensive and more reliable than the mercenaries. But she was like, whatever. And I was like, what? No!
Matt Turk says Charles Gaibon was a real person who won a contest to appear as a character in the series.
Wait, actually?
I love that!
That's very funny.
I don't mind Charles with EZ. It is just CHARLZ.
No, that would be weird. Charlie's. Like that, Charlie's, that would be
Charlie's
weird.
would be with 2 E's. Charles would be with 1 E. 100%. Charlemagne. That's so fun. I want to win a contest to be in the Wheel of Time.
Right?
Retroactively.
I don't think they're writing any more books, but...
No, I want them to just take out Randall Thor and put Nerdynightly.
Yeah.
Nightly!
Yeah. It's the Nerd Reborn.
And then, so Charles gets promoted.
Yeah.
For bringing these soldiers in to captain.
Fair enough.
And he is now Birgitte's right-hand man, because when Elaine promotes people to positions of power in her military, she does it not knowing who they are. And that's how we end up with Doylan Millar.
To be fair, she's very sus of him, and they're trying to, like... give
she
him
is
the
now, but she wasn't when she gave him the position.
Well, yeah, because he just saved her life.
I know, but this is my point. Wait a day, Elaine. Stop making these fucking... I'm sure this one works out, because if this guy won a competition, Robert Jordan isn't going to make him a dark friend. That would be weird.
I'll disagree with that. If someone fucking saved my life, and I was, like, in the middle of, like, holy shit,
you do a background check.
They saved your life, that's a pretty strong statement.
Yes, if the dark friend wants to get close to you, that is a strong statement. We're fighting a war with the shadow here.
I'm just happy that she's not, like, completely blind to him being a shitty person despite what he did. If Elaine was like, no, he saved my life, there's no way that he could be bad, then I would be like, Elaine, fucking Jesus Christ. But I totally get in the heat of the moment being like, wow, you just saved my ass, Captain. Captain.
I think, like, hey, we're gonna, like, have a ceremony later. Come by. And then be like, Brigitte, find out everything you know about this person before we promote another fucking terrible man to a position of power.
They don't have Google. They can't just look up a background check.
They can roll an insight check. I don't know.
Oh my god.
And so Elaine makes it back to the castle, and it's time for chapter 14 of The Knife of Daggers.
Wet things.
Wet things.
This was the funniest thing to me, because I opened the book, and I don't always look at the chapter names, but I was like, and you're like, what? I was like, wet things. I was like, why?
You are a child. I am also a child, but you are a child.
Based on the audiobook reactions, you're a child.
There's a reason we work together, babe.
Fair.
We are similarly mature. Mature. So Elaine and Brigitte and Avienda, they're wet, and so it's time to go get dry. And they
instead of doing that, they get stopped by every single person in the palace along the way.
This chapter is both hilarious and also like
I found it hilarious.
But also I was like, I really don't need another series of meetings. That could have been literally like a letter on her desk.
Well,
and these all could have been a letter on her desk.
The one thing that's really interesting is there's that storm above the castle, right?
Yeah.
Which seems to be probably like a bubble of evil. Like, I don't think Armilla has,
maybe it's the weather.
Yeah, directly above the castle.
Shit happens.
Please. No. Yeah, I think there's like a bubble of evil that kind of like shifted the palace. Here's my worry. Here's my worry. Is that, you know the portal stones?
No.
The portal stones. Flicker, flicker.
Oh, yeah.
Flicker, flicker. My worry is that flicker, flicker is colliding with the real world, and that's why the ghosts are there, that's why the castle's rearranging, and that these, like, slightly different alternate realities of the universe are literally, like, bleeding into one another. Just a guess.
I find all of the storytelling around this a little bit boring.
Around what?
The
dead people?
The dead people,
I mean, it's just a foreshadowing, right? It's one of those things where people are like, it's part of the prophecies being fulfilled, so it's letting us know that we're getting close.
I would rather characters be doing things intentionally. And
sure.
We're going on a long time of the Dark One is getting close to the world, so random shit that doesn't, like, a peddler has died, but, like, random shit's happening, and it's like, oh no, the hallways are different.
It's Hogwarts.
You know, like, I'm a little bit, I don't know why this matters, and so I'm hopeful that this is all leading to something, but it is so random, and if it is intentional on the Dark One's part, then
I don't think it is.
But I know, but, like, if it's not intentional, and it's just that random shit is happening that doesn't really affect anything, really. Because even
it's like
in
the
this
butterfly effect, kind of, right? Like, Dark One is just sending, like, ripples out into the ether.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's not what the butterfly effect is, but
yeah, it's you affect one little thing, and then way down the line, it affects some crazy huge thing.
Yeah, that's not what this is, though.
Well, you never know.
No, but like, functionally, that's not what's happening here. He's sending out ripples that are changing things instantly. Whereas the butterfly effect would be that he would have to go back to, like, Archer Hawkwing and like kill a different person, and then everything would be different now.
Maybe he has that ability. I don't fucking know.
God, I hope there's no time travel in this series.
That would make things even more bonkers.
But like the risk of random shit happening that is not controlled by anybody is a plot device to have like tension that isn't tense because there's nobody involved in it. It just sort of happens and then it goes away. And these things kind of just keep on happening and going away. And if it is intentional, then it says that the Dark One is like, oh, what am I going to do today? I'm going to change the hallways in the Palace of Gamelin. I'm so evil. And Demandred's sitting there like, really? Like, all right. Yeah, you can rearrange the hallways. Like,
I don't think it's meant to be like an evil thing. It's meant to be... I think it's meant to be intimidating, right? Like having that much power is very concerning, right? The Dark One is kind of showing his teeth here. He just like wasted 100,000 Trollocs, like no sweat.
He didn't.
Well, I don't know.
No, because Morden at the meeting asked who. No, but Morden at the meeting was asking who put the Trollocs in the ways, and he doesn't know.
Yeah, but Rand is like, oh, Ishamael was able to figure out where I am because of the Taviranness, so it's. He thinks Ishamael is dead, but we know that Ishamael is most likely Morden, so Morden would know where Rand is, so Morden probably sent them.
Maybe. My thing with it is that the bubbles of evil have been around since the third book.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, this doesn't feel like an escalation. The bubbles of evil used to feel more evil.
They tried to fucking murder
like the bubbles
Matt,
of evil
Rand
used to be the mirrors in Rand's bedroom came to life and tried to kill him as like miniature versions of himself, which is fucking rad. And now the bubbles of evil are it's raining and the hallways look different. And like that's less and so like even in these chapters, Elaine remarks that the servants see dead people and are fine with it now. Like it's starting to happen so much that it's unremarkable.
Yeah.
And so the tension of it, I think that the idea of the dead coming back to life was really interesting at first. And there's been no like narrative progression of it to the point where it has already lost its value in terms of tension and weight in the series because nothing was done with it.
That's why I think it's random, right? The Dark One is affecting the world in the ways that he's affecting the world, and because of that, there's other random things that are happening. And you know what? I'm gonna stick with my idea. I like the fact that it's the flicker portal stones all kind of like converging and making like a total mess and tangle of things.
I like the idea of that. Like that's a fun idea if there's anybody who's actively like interacting with it. The problem is
peddler died.
The problem for me is that our main characters keep interacting with these things and then they end and then our main characters just move on and go back to what they're doing. And none of them seem like a big enough problem that even our characters care about them. They're all just kind of like, that's fucking weird, right? Let's move on.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Camelin rearranges itself like a fucking labyrinth.
Okay.
And now there's entrances and exits that people don't know to the outside, to be on the walls, to get in and out of the castle that they can't watch, to like follow people. Like, I feel like that could potentially be very dangerous. There could be a fucking underground tunnel that goes straight from Armelia's camp to Camelin, and now they wouldn't know about it. Because the Dark One's like, hee, like...
Sure.
I don't know.
And then like, okay, yeah. So then Elaine loses because literal randomness happens.
Maybe,
as
or
opposed
maybe
to
it's
like
intentional.
there are characters who are doing things to like, you know what I mean? Like I just want plot lines to end, and I think what it is with the bubbles is that they just kind of extend plot lines because it forces our characters to talk about them for a chapter and not do anything.
Yeah.
No one is ever interacting with. Literally, when Matt runs into the bubble of evil on the road, he stops and watches, and then it ends, and then we have to listen to Val and Luca convince everybody to get back on the road, and
it's
nothing
terrifying, right? It frightens the shit out of people.
But who cares? The world is terrifying.
Yeah,
they are literally already terrified. They're fleeing from an invading army of people who are actively after them, and they encounter something random that happens that goes away, and then they get back on the road.
If you take away like hope from people, that's incredibly dangerous. If you frighten them so much that they think that there's no reason reason to fight. If they're like, wow, the Dark One just fucking melted a town into the goddamn dirt, what the hell am I gonna do? I'm gonna go run away and live out the rest of the months of my life and hopefully pray that nothing happens to me.
Right, but because it's random, there's no direction that's safe. There is no safe harbor. If random shit can happen anywhere, then
nobody's safe.
So then why stop living your life? Right? Like, it doesn't...
What? I'm not saying they're going to stop living their life. I'm saying they're not going to show up for the last battle. They're going to be like, fucking deuces. There's no way that we have a chance against that. Right?
The circus? I don't think the circus is going to be at the last battle.
No, but you affect all levels, right? It goes deeper than our heroes saving the day. I don't think this book is going to be about the heroes saving the day. I think it has to be everybody coming together to save the day. Whether that's fucking the circus performers or, the Sanshin army. Sand, welcome back to the nerd table. Thank you so much. Threads of the pattern are unraveling, thus causing chaos. Is not intentionally being done by the Dark One. Yeah, like it doesn't feel
So it's not even being done by the Dark One. It's just but like that's my point, is it's just random shit.
Yeah.
And it's been random shit since book 3 that like doesn't, that our characters don't interact with. They watch and then they get past. And then they kind of forget about it.
Well, not always, right? It started off with like serious threats on their life.
Sure.
Whether or not that was intentional, like who knows?
A miasma of evil has never killed anyone that we know.
A peddler?
That we know. They're like these
That's
bubbles
not
of
true.
evil.
That fog. Oh no, that was Pat and Fane.
Who died there? Nobody. All of the main characters survive every interaction.
Hundreds of people died there.
I don't care about random people, though, right? And this is the problem. When the numbers are 10,000 soldiers show up and Elaine goes, 10,000 soldiers isn't enough, that doesn't make a difference. Then when hundreds of people die, I don't care because it's not enough to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that the castle rearranging itself is just another random thing that doesn't affect how our main characters are approaching the situations they're in. Mm-hmm. It just extends them. Mm-hmm. It is just more filler that is interesting. I'm not saying it's not interesting. It's cool, but Elaine can't do anything about it. Elaine can't interact with it. She just goes, well, that's fucking weird. Anyway, on to my next meeting. That's literally what happens. And so if the characters involved in these situations are going to keep looking at them as like, well, that's weird, I can't do anything about it, and move on.
Yeah, at least with the weather, they were like, okay, we got to get the bowl of winds so that we can like fix a thing. Yeah.
So when they have the goal, they go do the thing. The miasma of evils have just been around for 9 books now, and
there's nothing they can.
Do. So they just kind of are like, another one happened, and But
it does succeed in creating. In instilling fear, right?
This is a town that is being sieged. You don't need to instill fear in them. They are literally under attack. Okay,
so they're scared. Yeah, they can't be possibly scared anymore about different things. Nope. Only one scared allowed. Only one. Only a single fear. Like, no.
But I'm saying, like, it doesn't change anybody's situation. And so much of the narrative in this book...
But it breaks people.
It doesn't, though. They're fine.
Well, we don't know yet. Right? Like, you wake up and there's no windows or doors to your room, and you're like, okay, well, now I'm stuck.
That would be horrifying.
Right?
But so far, the hallways are different. They're worried about what it could possibly mean in the future, but so far, the hallways have changed a little bit.
Yeah, and Elaine is like, oh, shit, if this happens again, and these are the outcomes... That's really fucking shitty.
But can we also talk about the fact that Elaine is like, oh my god, I can't find my room. Must be pregnancy brain. Elaine is 2 months pregnant.
I know!
She has been pregnant for like 51 days. Elaine would not be showing. Elaine, like...
That was
Robert Jordan does not understand pregnancy in the same way that he doesn't understand the cold. Because women do not, like, get pregnant and then fall off a fucking cliff mentally.
Yeah, because chat, correct us if we're wrong, but I think Elaine's maybe 2 months pregnant.
Fail was kidnapped 51 days ago.
Yeah.
So she's only been pregnant for 2 months.
Yeah, around there, right? And suddenly Elaine is incapable.
But, like, Elaine is behaving as if she is 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And she is less, she
ain't even showing.
Because Rand sends Perrin and Fael away, and then goes to Camelin.
Yes.
So,
but don't worry, her boobs are very tender.
But actually, Elaine is only like 6 weeks pregnant.
Is it?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
So,
it's definitely less than 2 months.
Berserker says the timeline of the characters aren't all in sync. That is not true. The timelines of the characters are all in sync because Crossroads of Twilight made it very clear where everybody is the day. No, I'm being serious.
The day of the
Crossroads of Twilight lines up all of the narratives around the day that the taint is cleansed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, she's 90 months pregnant. No.
But she's like 6 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
There are a lot of women who don't even know they're pregnant until the third month.
Yeah, that's true.
There are women who make it to 9 months and not know, but like she's been pregnant for like the only reason she knows she's pregnant is because Min told her so.
Yeah.
Min had a vision that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
But she has not been pregnant long enough to be suffering from memory loss.
Yeah, if she was like 4 or 5 months, I could be like, okay, you know what? Sure, that probably happened. But like, 6 weeks, I was like.
And her boobs are so tender.
So tender.
So tender. I was like, what fucking pregnancy is this?
It's a magic pregnancy. You got the Dragon Reborn and you got Elaine. They're too powerful. Their babies.
They're too powerful.
Their babies are like Luke and Leia.
The one power stops her from getting morning sickness, but her boobs are gonna hurt the whole time.
Yeah. They're gonna be sore.
I was like, oh yeah, Elaine must be like 9 months pregnant. And then I was thinking about Perrin's 51 knots and I was like, hey, wait a second.
Wait a moment. and here's the thing.
Like Elaine would have missed one period at this point. One. This is nuts.
If Robert Jordan holds true to his tendencies, we would know the second she started showing because she would talk about the clothes fitting differently in the middle and getting it tailored and blah, blah, blah. Nope, just the boobs. Don't worry about it.
Just the boobs.
She's still snatched, but she's got them big old titties.
That was my favorite part when they're like, she's gonna see more swelling. And I was like, yeah, of course she is. She's only 6 weeks pregnant.
I know.
She hasn't put on any weight yet. She's gonna get massive. What are you talking about? She might see more swelling. She's gonna get fat. It's gonna be beautiful. She's gonna be glowing. It's gonna be like the most beautiful version of it you could possibly imagine because pregnancy is a gift. But like some swelling, the girl's going up 3 cup sizes in the next 9 months.
That would be nice.
Unless pregnancy is different in the Wheel of Time and like it's shorter or something, maybe women are only pregnant for a few weeks. But
the weeks are 10 days, so do the math on that.
Wait, so in Randland, she's only been pregnant for less than 5 weeks.
True. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I read this section as comedy, and I'll admit, I found it very funny, but I was like, there's no fucking way that she's like this fucked up.
But the comedy for me is that it seems like Robert Jordan doesn't understand what pregnancy is. Or didn't ask his wife.
No, his wife was pregnant one time, and all he remembers is like the last couple months where she, forgot where the cutlery was put all the time. And it's like, yes, this whole time. It was like that the whole time. That's
just hilarious. I had a good chuckle throughout this section.
Yeah.
We should talk about some of the meetings that she has. She meets Rianne Corley for the last time, unfortunately, who's with Jalari and Kara. I did not know Supergirl was in this, but excited to see Kara there.
Yeah. We love Supergirl.
Jalari is overcoming being domain. She's working on it, and Kara is being a good little buddy there. I appreciated that a lot. I thought this scene, I enjoyed watching the like detransitioning of not detransitioning. What's the right word? Like the rehab it was fun to see a channeler treat another human being like a human being and with empathy. That doesn't happen very often in these books.
Yeah.
The tenderness that Kara was showing Jalari, I actually thought was really well written.
They're actually making some progress with the domain and the Soldam. Mm-hmm. It's slow for sure. Like you have to undo years and years and years of bullshit. But I agree. I think it was really nice to see. I think it sets up, later when Rand dies. It's very sad.
When Rand dies?
Rianne.
Oh, Rand. I heard Rand and I was like, because Olivia kills him?
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot, but I am happy seeing like some kind of progress with it, because I was worried that they would just stay Sanchin forever. Although Olivia, like after 400 years was like, nah, fuck him. There is hope. There is hope.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, Olivia came out of that collar mad.
Fair enough.
Olivia didn't need to be deprogrammed. Olivia got that collar off and was like, who can I murder?
Fair enough.
Murder? Can I commit murder? Please?
Murder.
I would like to murder.
Murder.
And I'm like, Olivia, I approve this message.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A great example of our earlier discussion about laws not being ethical. The laws of the Sanshin probably feel very ethical to Tuon, but when Elaine takes the collar off, she immediately goes, hey, that society's bullshit, I'm going to kill them. And I, as a person who doesn't like murder, went, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. You deserve it.
Go for it.
Laws are complicated, friends. Let's get into, they run into a bunch of different people. They also run into Reen Harfer, who is not the same as Rianne.
Is it Renee?
I don't fucking care.
Robert
Jordan.
Renee, yeah, Rianne and Renee being in the same place at the same time.
At least Rianne's dead. Like, I don't want her to be dead, but for my sake, having to read those two names in the same paragraph, thank God. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, so, They have the mercenary captains waiting for them.
Yeah, one of the Soldames has admitted to seeing the weaves.
Yes, but now he's like, collar me. And they're like, no. So that's, another hurdle. One step forward, 2 steps back. They're working on it.
They'll get there. And Elaine is a little bit ice cold about it. Elaine's like, just drop him off in the Sanshin then. Let her be collared. And,
I know. And Renee was like, Rianne. Rianne is like, it's pretty fucking harsh. And Elaine is like, you know what? I'm pregnant, so I'm going to think about it, but I don't think I'm going to change my mind.
But this is what makes the earlier combat question weirder, is that Elaine is willing to be cutthroat in this, but isn't willing to be cutthroat to save her city. And because this Elaine, I like this Elaine as queen, because this is the right thing to do. Don't kill her. Send her back to her people to tell the truth. If she wants to go be collared and it benefits you, you're just giving her what she wants. And also striking a blow at your enemy, right? But in her own, in Andor, cold. She is behaving so milquetoasty, but she's willing to be so cold in this. Yeah. And I don't know where these two versions of this character line up for me, because I can't place them together. I
wonder if maybe it's because she feels more strongly about the Sanshin stuff because, Egwene was collared and it feels like too close to home, so she's a little more ruthless regarding it. But yeah, I don't know.
Guys, you need to stop. Simon Toulouse is adding, there's a huge taboo about using the power as a weapon. We've gone through, at this point, you can use the power to defend your life. There is a siege out to kill her, and there are ways to beat that siege without actually attacking people with it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a weapon. You can set up defenses. You can set up even traps of some kind. You can hinder the army. There's lots of ways to channel without it being a weapon. So. Yes,
and they are using gateways for military strategy already. Yeah. There's and she has 200 kin. Saying she doesn't have channelers. Cease Army says she doesn't have channelers to save her city. She has so many. She has so many people who can channel. And the ways to keep ladders from touching the walls would be the tiniest little spark of wind. It wouldn't even be hard. It's not even you would need a lot of power. You would just need a little bit of wind.
Yeah.
There are enough people who can do what needs to be done to win the day.
Here's the thing. We have our ideas on how this plays out. And there are people in the chat who agree with us and disagree with us. This would be much better and more clear if we had Elaine's POV thinking about it. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that we could really understand where her arbitrary lines are and what that means for the kin and the Windfinders around her. I just wish that it was discussed in this section, because for us, we're sitting here maybe do something.
Marco Domenchik says, kin Windfinders are only willing to help with logistics, not fighting. They are literally opening the gateways right now.
And healing people.
And I do not buy. And if this is the case, then I think it's that they should all die. It's fucking ridiculous.
Elaine?
No, the Windfinders and the kin. Oh. If you are not willing to fight for your own survival because you don't want to stop ladders from touching the wall, I don't know what to say. Okay, then die. Like what do you think is going to happen when they get in there? That they're going to leave you alone? Like the lack of self-preservation in that statement is so preposterous to me.
I mean, I do think that the Windfinders would be safe. I think Armilla would be. Well, I think. Well, actually, no, because Elaine gave land to the Windfinders.
Armilla is not letting a single one of those Atha Anmir leave.
If she can help it, yeah.
With the way they behave, you think they're going to diplomacy their way out of that castle?
No, it's just...
They're fucking dead.
It is very sad.
These people are all dead.
Yeah, it is very sad that all of these channelers would channel in defense of their own life, but not the people that are, like, dying on the walls. You know?
It just gets to the point of, like, at what point do you stand up for yourself?
Yeah.
And why are these characters so willing to do nothing? And why is Elaine allowing so many of her subjects to die without even trying? And I just am like, I can't get on board with the waiting. You have the ability to do shit and you're not doing anything. And because you're waiting, you might lose. Like the mercenaries are leaving you because they're like, hey, we're all dying for nothing and you have fucking magic. Help us. And like, that's fair. They're right.
Unless, so we talked about this at the White Tower, right? Egwene's sitting there doing nothing and just waiting, and we were like, "What the fuck?"
She doesn't.
Well, but then they turn the chain into Quendalar so that they can like starve out Tarvalon or whatever. So I'm hoping that Elaine has some kind of plan. It doesn't seem like it from this, but we've read like that there's
14 chapters of what's going on. We're at like chapter 14 of this.
Yeah.
If it weren't for Crossroads of Twilight, I don't think I would have the same position because we wouldn't have been sitting in the siege for so long.
Yeah.
But it's getting to the point where like we keep reading about Elaine going to meetings, talking about what's going on.
Yeah.
And not actively doing anything. All of the Elaine scenes are just people telling Elaine what's going on that they're doing. Yeah. Dylan shows up and is like, this is what I've been doing. This is what I've been doing. Elaine isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And so when we read about the people dying, and then we go to, Elaine goes to a bunch of meetings where she doesn't really move any of these plots along. I'm like, Elaine is getting people killed.
The Windfinders should want Elaine to win above everything else because they get a square mile of Camelin out of it.
And they only get it from her.
Yeah,
they don't get it from anyone outside those walls.
Yeah, no, they should be, like, they should be at the forefront.
Brian Eddie, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat, Brian.
The reason no one stopped the ladders is because they knew the invading force would just turn to using fireworks to blow man-sized holes in the walls.
True. You know what? That's fair. Funny. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I'm only like upset about it because we don't get our character's rationale for it.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
we get a lot of their POV, but not why.
Yeah.
And honestly, Arbitron does that a lot. It's a lot of like, this is what I'm doing. Why are you doing it? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Why does Perrin do anything? I don't know. He's grumpy.
Yeah. He's grumpy. It's fine. He doesn't like his beard. It's very itchy.
I also think that I wouldn't mind the Andor siege so much if there wasn't also a Tarvalon siege. So there's two sieges where nothing is happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And like none of our characters are actively doing anything in either of them.
Yeah.
They're just kind of waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, Elaine has the mercenaries waiting for her. And she finds out that Malar decided to go hang out with them. And same with Sarietha and
Karian.
Yes. The two sus Aes Sedai. One or both of them killed Adelius, right? Adelius?
Yes.
Yeah. Adelius.
Vendine's sister.
So Elaine is like super sus that specific group of people are down there with the mercenaries. As well she should be. I kind of think that they're both guilty now. Karian and Saritha. I think they're both fucking guilty.
I think they're suspicious of each other and they won't leave each other alone because they're both trying to figure out the other one.
Well, but here's the thing, right? The mercenaries had to have some kind of connection with Armilla, but also inside Camelin to get to break their word with Elaine and like turn tail on Armilla. That doesn't necessarily turn tail on Elaine. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's any of those people in that room. But the fact that all those people in that room are also sus makes them all. You know, it makes it the whole situation suspicious.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So.
So we run into the Windfinders again. They are like, give us Marilala, la 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 la, and fucking Elaine is like, I still don't know where she is. So good luck with that. And they're like, well, we're going to go to the Swan. And Elaine's like, I don't care.
All right.
So I just fucking get out of my way.
Yeah. And then she's like, hey, your clothes are wet. And Elaine screams very loud.
Yeah, she full on is like,
ah!
And everyone's like, she's pregnant. Don't worry about it.
Pregnant.
She also snaps at Reen, and Reen's like, that's fine. She's pregnant.
It's fine.
She's like not pregnant though.
She's like 6 weeks pregnant. We'll go with 6 weeks.
Okay, but given the like relative time period, right? And like the way that health works back then, everybody in this castle buys that Min had a vision that Elaine is currently pregnant in a way that no one should believe it, right? Because I don't think the majority of people would know that channelers don't have morning sickness. And so Elaine would be going around being like, guys, I'm pregnant. And her maids would be like, she hasn't thrown up once in the first 6 weeks of pregnancy. That's like the number one thing. She seems fine.
Not
she eats everything fine.
Not everyone gets morning sickness, though.
And the majority of people do.
But at least not everyone. Bit. Right? Like
I know, but I'm saying like
if my queen was like, I'm pregnant, I wouldn't be like, no, you're not. You haven't thrown up.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that people would say no to her. I'm just saying that like everyone is like super committed to this being 100% the truth.
The queen says it's the truth.
Based on
queen, almost, yeah.
Min drunkenly telling the girls that it is the truth while they were fucking hammered because they were trying not to feel Elaine's orgasms.
I do love that is the situation.
Like, all of this pregnancy stuff comes down to Elaine told them so while she was fucking hammered on Usque.
Yeah.
And everyone, and the entirety of Camelin knows about it. If I was any of these maids, I'd be like, who told us that? Oh, this drunk girl we've never met before.
I mean,
that's the source?
The wise ones also, like, we're like, yeah, you're pregnant. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the wise ones did too.
That counts for something. But yeah, no, it is. Yeah. Anyways.
It just is funny to me that they're all so committed to it. And Min was like, Elaine's gonna have 2 kids. And everyone's like, oh, and Min's like, no, I mean like right now. Like
right now.
The orgasm that Rand is currently having is going to turn into 2 babies. Do you guys feel that? It's crazy.
Wow. Oh my god. I mean, I guess Brigitte is very intent that she's pregnant too, and you don't fuck with Brigitte.
Can you imagine be those girls in that moment and Min's like, she's getting knocked up right now. That like good feeling and all of our tingly bits together.
I love that the guards don't even listen to Elaine anymore. Like Elaine's guards like do not listen to her. It makes me fucking chuckle. Anyways.
So we get to chapter 15, a different skill.
They change clothes.
They're
wet.
And then while they're half dressed, Avienda starts to exhibit the ability to just touch a Tarangrail and be like, I know what this does.
New talent, let's go.
This comes so fucking far out of left field that I was kind of like, are you fucking kidding me?
Kind of. I wish, and maybe we did and I just forgot about it, but I wish we'd had some kind of inkling There's probably when they pick them up
on a reread. There's probably something.
Probably, but that seems so far back ago that I don't remember, and so apologies. But yeah, it did feel kind of like, oh, Avienda's also got a talent. In case you were worried that our main character did not have a talent.
I feel like this was one of those things where Robert Jordan was like, I don't want to spend time having them learn how to do this. We're just gonna jump over.
Yeah.
Anyone figuring out what these Tarangrails are, and Avienda's just going to be able to do it. Because, like, I don't care enough to, like, go through the work of making this make sense. It's just going to, one day, even though she has touched many Tarangrails before this point, Avienda is going to be able to pick up a Tarangrail and, like, get very specific about what it does.
Yeah.
And she didn't touch the red rod, and I'm very disappointed.
Why?
It's the one I wanted to know.
Rod? Guys, red rod. I want a detailed description. But anyways, Avienda discovers an iPod and a Kindle, among some other things. So that was kind of cool. You know, they now have an iPod.
They do have an iPod. They have a slinky of torture.
A slinky, yeah.
It's like black and has like a springy bit, and you hit people with it, and it can do different amounts of damage.
There's also a helmet that she thinks controls the thing, and I imagine it controls one of the flying things from the Age of Legends.
Oh, a Shawing?
Yeah, whatever that was.
Do you think the Shawings are,
I hope they find
references
one.
to Wayne's World?
I wouldn't know, I didn't watch it.
Shawing. Nerdy, did you catch the Robert Jordan Terangriel?
Boobs? No, I did not see the boobs Terangriel.
Was it the book one? I think it was the book one, right?
The library?
Yeah.
It's a Kindle.
It like looks like him. The beard.
Oh, I see. I don't know what he looks like, actually. Oh, I found it. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And so...
Is that Matt's hat? I think that's Matt's hat.
Literally, right?
Yeah.
I did like that Elaine has a dagger that means the Dark One can't see her.
Yeah. That's useful.
Not really.
What do you mean?
We know where she is.
We do.
Everybody, nobody... Doylan Millar is right there.
Yeah. No. But I mean, it is useful for planning tactics in the future, right? You give it to like Matt to run a secret something.
Oh, give it to anybody else. The person who's the captain of her guard is fucking a dark friend.
Yeah, no.
Avienda's like, you need this to protect you. And I was reading it, I was like, she needs a lot more than that, girl.
I mean, maybe the dark one can like scry on her and like listen in on like meetings, so it might prevent that. I have to pee.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I love, like, Avienda put such a, like, huge emphasis on this dagger. And I was like, of all the people who could potentially use this, the character who's going to stay in one spot for the foreseeable future, I don't know that it's the most helpful, but we'll see. Sean says, so many things so far in this book are Jordan flipping a switch and suddenly plots are moving. Tuon's family suddenly murdered. Galad now in charge of the White Cloaks, etc. It's nice stuff's happening. I agree with that, Sean. It's nice that stuff is happening. I wish that it was... I think that what I'm feeling right now is that stuff is happening that isn't active on the part of our characters making decisions. And so it all feels really cheap. The Galad thing, less so, because I think that Galad is the one thing... Galad is the one storyline so far in this book where the character who it is his point of view actively does a thing, and there are consequences that worked out in his favor because of his active decision to take steps to accomplish something. And I think that what I'm feeling about the rest of the book right now is that there is a struggle between our characters being very inactive and the book doing a lot of things that aren't choices by anybody. There's a lot of random plot movement forward, but it's not in the interest of our characters' actions. Anu says, you do seem to have a hang up on if the characters aren't doing stuff, things happening are cheap. Yeah, I do. Characters, like narrative, being told that things are happening is not as interesting as being shown things happening.
Arzu, thanks for the gifted membership.
I was waiting for you to get back to say it.
Yeah. Oh
Arzu
my God.
Thank you for 10 gifted memberships. I thought you'd want to be here for that. Thank you so much.
Wow, yeah, thank you.
Adanu, do you think natural disasters are cheap? I think that natural disasters in books are interesting in the aftermath, but are not interesting while they're happening. Because
unless our characters can do something about it, it's just another thing that they have to like deal with the aftermath of or later.
What's interesting about natural disaster writing is how did they survive in the space afterwards? What choices did they make after the natural disaster to survive and get to their house or get to their kids or you know what I mean? The actual disaster itself is an inciting incident because nobody did it. Nobody chose it. It doesn't like mean anything to anybody because it is random. And randomness is meaningless, right?
Yeah. I think
meaning comes from intention.
Yeah, I think it's fun to read. I think that there's interesting ways to use it and that it's cool, but I'm not invested in it.
Yes.
Right? And I get invested in the characters and their decisions that they make. And so that's my favorite part of reading.
Yes.
That's not going to be everybody's favorite part. I think that there's certain aspects of this book that probably work a lot better for other people just because of how they enjoy storytelling and content and what they find interesting. And that's fine.
Yeah, I think I think the risk of that, though, is you end up with narrative that you can't that it doesn't matter to anybody, right? Mm-hmm. And my problem with the unraveling of the pattern is that it has become such a commonplace thing to our characters that they don't care anymore. And, they don't give a shit. And so why should I give a shit?
It's happening again.
If the dead people are walking the streets and they don't care, people are just kind of like, oh, that's fucking, God, I wish that would stop. And that is the amount of care that is being put into the character's intentions. So I don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. If they're not scared, I'm not scared. You know what I mean? And I do. I think that the first half of this book is cheap. I think there's a lot of cheap plot progression in this. I think Aviendha suddenly being able to tell us what ter'angreals do is cheap. I think that it could be in the service of something good depending on what they do with it. But immediately after we find out about her having this ability that could actually help us move the plot forward, two characters show up and say, Aviendha, you're leaving this plot now. We're going to go do something else. Yeah. We're not going to tell you what. We're just leaving. And so suddenly I'm like, oh, well, fuck. Rather than learn information about Aviendha's new ability and then get to see what the consequences of that are and how they play out, we learn that Aviendha has this ability, and now Aviendha is gone. She's off the board again.
Yeah.
To where? Who knows? She can do the ter'angreal stuff. That seems like it's really important in the place where all the ter'angreals are being kept, but we're going to pull Aviendha away from that storyline to something. I don't know. And so for me, I'm like, none of these plot lines are ending, and now Aviendha is also on another plot line.
I hope that plot line, though, comes around to Rand. I hope that Aviendha, spends more time with Rand. Because I guess the person who spent the least time with Rand is actually Elaine, which is unfortunate. But, Min has had her turn for a while now. They got to keep rotating in fairness. Because, Elaine got to fuck him once. Granted, she got pregnant from it, but, she's barely seeing the love of her life. But here's the thing, Aviendha and Elaine have a love, so it's there as long as they're together. It's
There's
fine.
The romances in this book are they're silly. Nine Even Lands is pretty good. We'll get to that. But
I don't think romance is Robert Jordan's strong suit. It's why he didn't write romance novels.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elaine doesn't even really think about Rand that much anymore.
She just gets mad at him about the babies.
I know.
Fuck Rand for getting me pregnant. Should have had some fucking tea first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's birth control tea in this world.
Yeah. It's a fantasy trope that's pretty common, so yeah.
Yeah, and so I do think that I think there is a lot of cheap kind of narrative in this book. I think that Perrin being like, God, I would love to fork root that whole lake if only we had a teammate who happened to be farming all of the fork root in the country and had that in a barn ready to go. And then this woman's like, yeah, I've been farming all of the fork root in the country and it's in this barn ready to go. And also, your Aes Sedai found a piece of paper in Massima's trailer that happens to give him permission to do anything anywhere in the Sunshine territory, so you're allowed to ask for this thing. And I'm like, it's lucky that all of this was just lined up for Perrin to just walk up and ask for it, right?
Yeah.
But that's it, right? There is some don't worry about it. We have 5,000 pounds of fork root here.
Yeah,
we're good to go. It's a little bit cheap. Narratively, right? And writing-wise, it is cheap to kind of... And that's the problem with ta'veren and as a whole, is that ta'veren is an inherently cheap narrative tactic that you can have the books do whatever you want because you have a thing that makes random shit happen.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad.
Oh, it doesn't mean that it's bad. Yeah.
Right? It's just easy to use it as a reason that things happen.
I mean, there are a lot of cheap narrative tactics that a lot of things use, right? Prophecy is a very cheap tactic. these characters are all doing this because they believe the words of some woman in the woods. Like, that is a cheap narrative tactic that allows for storytelling. The problem is that while we're getting a lot of the cheap parts, we're not getting the resolutions. And so what matters about using a cheap narrative tactic is how people respond to it and how it changes their characters and where they go from there, right?
I don't know if prophecy in and of itself is necessarily a cheap tactic, because I think that there's so much that you can play with there narratively of how they interpret it, what changes about it because they hear it or because they decide not to act on it. Like, there's a lot of things around a prophecy that the characters can choose to have influence their life or their being.
But that's what I just said. Prophecies are cheap. Right? You can write a prophecy to say whatever you want.
But a prophecy is just an inciting incident.
Right. But some inciting incidents are character driven. And they're a lot harder to do because you have to write why characters started a fight. But if you can write, you two characters have to fight eventually, then your inciting incident doesn't require any setup. It is just like Harry Potter starts off with a very cheap narrative tactic. This baby is going to fight this dark wizard and is the only person who can kill him. Mm-hmm. That is a really cheap narrative setup in terms of the amount of effort that you have to put into setting up why these two characters hate each other. What Harry does along the journey from there is not cheap. Like, all of that stuff is the narrative. On the flip side, Lord of the Rings doesn't have a very cheap narrative setup, right? The inciting incident doesn't end until Frodo makes the decision to take the ring to Mordor. That's where the story really starts. The inciting incident of him getting the ring and it getting there. But
Frodo doesn't even mean to say what he says. So is that cheap then?
Frodo isn't destined to be the person to take the ring to Mordor. By
Gandalf is literally like, well, you were meant to have it, and therefore Bilbo was meant to have it, and Gollum was meant to have it.
But that isn't a prophecy. That is that is Gandalf's perspective on the situation. He believes that because he believes in the fate of the universe, which is different than this character said that there would be a boy born on this day in the Shire, and that boy will carry the ring into the mountain. And so all of these characters fall into place around him because the character in the woods said so. Whereas Frodo stands up at the meeting and he goes, I will take it. I'll take it to Mordor.
Yeah.
And because of his conviction, he convinces the people around that table. It's not that Gandalf goes, and you all have to go too because this is the prophesied boy who's going to have to take it. They look in Frodo's eyes, and those characters in the moment make the character decision to follow him and give him my sword, my bow, my axe. Those are the two different things. What you do with cheap narrative tactics, almost all books have cheap narrative tactics. That's not like a downside.
Yeah, well,
almost everything does.
I think that it's how you use it that makes it like cheap or not. I don't think it's inherently cheap to have somebody like say something to affect, because what if it's not even a real prophecy? Somebody fucking said this.
I think we're just using the words differently. I'm talking about purely from like a writing structure standpoint, not from a like good or bad standpoint.
Okay.
I'm saying that like cheap is like, I'm not saying cheap in that it is bad. I'm saying cheap in that you don't have to do the work narratively to explain how it starts, right? You can just write it in and go with it. Whereas, like, I think that you're thinking that I'm saying that because prophecies are a cheap narrative tactic that they're bad. I don't think that. I think that there are great ways to use prophecies. But the initial prophecy is a very cheap thing for a writer to be able to use as a inciting incident.
Okay.
Those aren't, you can have great prophecies.
Yeah.
And I think that there are wonderful prophecies, right? I think that there are, but even in the best use of them, they are still using a cheap narrative tactic.
Okay.
Sort of like rogues who became a rogue because their parents died when they were young. Like, that is a cheap narrative starting device. What you do with that character from there makes them either very fucking tropey or very interesting.
Yeah.
But my parents died, so I became a thief in the streets because I was an orphan is like a really cheap starting point because everybody already understands how it works.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like set up that character in any way. You're starting off with something that people are like, oh, I get what that is. And what do you do with that to make it interesting?
Right, okay.
As opposed to, no, I had great parents. We weren't rich, but we weren't poor. We were just kind of middle class. I worked a lot of jobs, and then I became a thief one day. Oh, why?
Yeah.
That's a less cheap way to get to a rogue character because you're not using the trope, that you're not using this ingrained idea.
Right. Jeffrey, welcome to the Nerd Table, and Albino, welcome to the Nerd Table. Yanargs, we appreciate it.
Elman Dude says God does just resurrect Gandalf and put him in a forest just in time to give Merry and Pippin a tree army. Fair.
Yes.
But he doesn't give them a tree army. The trees are trying to... But this is my point. The trees... Gandalf doesn't go, hi, Merry and Pippin. Here are some trees. They're going to fight with you. He goes, trees, don't kill Merry and Pippin. And then Pippin has to use his brain to get... Merry has to use his brain... Fuck, I can always... Merry has to use his brain and his actions to get those trees to fight. Mm-hmm. He is the one who says, put me in danger. I think it's better if we go south. If we go right to Isengard and I'll sneak away from him from there.
Well, actually, no. Pippin does actually give the tactic to go closer to Isengard. But Merry is the one who is arguing at like when they're in the meeting and trying to convince them. So they both play their own part.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
The cheap version is that Gandalf just tells them to do it.
Sure.
The not cheap version
God
is that
puts him there.
Ents say no.
Yeah.
And then the characters have to convince them.
That's fair.
This book is missing that. It's missing the, like, Elaine has to convince people to work for her. She's not. She's like, we had an agreement that happened off page. You're going to honor it or you're going to leave me. Mm-hmm. And then they don't. They leave her. Because they're like, no, fuck that. We don't give a shit about you. You're not behaving in a way that makes us want to fight for you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, Wheel of Time specifically has set up that the wheel weaves as the wheel wills. And that's not just a thing that people believe. We're told that it's fact.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that does affect a lot of the plot and our characters' like narratives moving forward. And it all kind of comes down to the weave and Ta'veren. Which, yeah, is not the most, like, character-driven of decisions. But I do think that I think it's a really interesting idea of how this world functions. And so, you take this and then you use it in a way that is interesting and doesn't just rely on it. I think that makes for a really cool world and stories.
And here's what I'll say. When Robert Jordan is using character devices to tell complicated character stuff, I think he is a better writer than when he uses the cheap stuff. Right?
Yeah, because he's good at
it. But I think he is not very good at using tropes.
Yeah.
I think his tropes are bad. And I think his complicated characters are brilliant. Mm-hmm. And what's weird is that usually it's the other way around. Usually people can passively use the, like, cheap stuff. And it's making it more complicated that's hard. But actually, with Robert Jordan, it's the flip side where, like, he uses cheap stuff in a way that, like, kind of is almost grating to me. But when he gets complicated, it's fucking great. The Rand Luce Theron relationship is not tropey at all.
No, it's
fucking crazy, and it is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
On the flip side, Aviendha has a superpower and now she's leaving, is like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so it's a weird... The balance in these books is off, and I think that's what kind of creates the slog in the books before this, and it's what creates the first half of the reading each week right now that is kind of boring, and then the second half of the reading each week right now, which is always exciting.
Yeah.
And we're flip-flopping. The balance of these chapters is in this weird place where, like, the meetings that Elaine has don't seem to be leading to the climax of this series of chapters in any real way, other than, like, the mercenaries aren't going to fight for her anymore. But it's just kind of like meetings, and then we cut to Rand, and then this explosive battle happens that is random. It's not really... We don't know who he's fighting. It's not really about anything. It's not about his goals in any way. Yeah. It's just 100,000 Trollocs randomly show up in the woods, right? And, like, it's a great battle. It's so well written.
Yeah.
But it's not in service of any... Like, there's nothing going on. Rand has been sitting at this mansion for, like, 6 weeks doing nothing, right? He's waiting for a message from the Sanshin that there's no dramatic tension in, because we know that they don't have Tuon anyway. So, like, we're just kind of sitting with Rand as he's sitting around waiting for something to happen, and then 100,000 Trollocs show up. He wins.
Boom!
It's really cool and it's great. And, like, I don't know where the next plotline goes, but, like...
Well, we'll find out when we look at the next chapter.
But then we go to Lan, and Lan is like, I'm fucking leaving to go be by myself in the Blight for a bit. And you're like, what does that have to do with any of the other stuff that's going on? Like,
we'll get there. You know what I
mean?
We'll get to that part. I think we move on to the next chapter, or this is going to be a 4-hour book club.
Yeah. I'm down for it to be a 4-hour book club, because this was great. Like, there's great reading this week.
100%.
There's just also not great reading this week.
And see, I don't know. I enjoyed reading the Elaine stuff. Was I, like, as invested in it? No, but, like, I wasn't frustrated with it. Like, I definitely I definitely enjoyed what's going on with Elaine, even though, like you said, like the narrative of it is just kind of, oh, another meeting. But I've liked Elaine so much up until this point that I'm like, I just want her to be queen.
yeah.
Please. But we get to the next chapter. The new follower.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've kind of talked about this. I feel like we can skip this. They meet with the mercenaries. The mercenaries are like, we want more money or we're going to leave. And Elaine is like, no, you're going to hold to your agreement. And then the mercenaries leave and Brigitte's like, they're not. They're going to
Yeah, we're fucked.
Hey, guess what? You did not accomplish anything in that meeting, Elaine. Congrats, you fucked up.
Also, the Aes Sedai continue to try and bully these, like, mercenaries.
Because that tactic always works.
Yeah, they're like, hey, the Aes Sedai are here, so this is where you should be too. And the mercenaries are like, no.
Yeah, because the mercenaries are like, yeah, because there's shit going on in the White Tower. And the fucking Aes Sedai are like, we're going to gaslight you. And the mercenaries are like, we're not fucking stupid. Yeah. Like, Tar-Valon isn't that far away.
But this is why I think both Carrie-Anne and Saritha are fucking sus. Because they make the situation worse. And I think that they do it on purpose.
I don't think they make the situation worse. I think Elaine never does anything right in this conversation.
Well, no, I think that them trying to like bully and gaslight the mercenary people.
It's the same tactic Elaine is using.
Well, not really. Elaine is like, hey, you promised us. We're going to give you what we promised because that's what we agreed on.
Yeah.
Right? She's not like, I'm Aes Sedai. Whereas Saritha and Carrie-Anne kind of are. Right? They're just like...
But the problem with this is Elaine isn't presenting them... Like, I'm on the mercenary side. Elaine is not presenting them with a possible end to this.
Yeah, but Elaine also is like, I handled that poorly.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad that she said that.
Yeah.
Because she did, right? You have these men who are coming to you and being like, hey, like, we're just kind of dying repeatedly. For what? And Elaine's like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know when this is going to end. I have no plan. So if I was those mercenaries, I'd be like, girl, like, we're not going to fight here for the next 10 years. Like, what are we doing?
It's tough because, you know, with mercenaries, it's the idea of, like, if you give an inch, they'll try and take a mile, right? And so she doesn't want to budge on it, which I understand completely. But, like, maybe having, like, a win incentive or something, like...
There is a win incentive. If they win, they get paid more. Like, that is brought up in the chapter.
Right. There was definitely a better way to handle this, which Elaine acknowledges. But she can't really, like, give them anything else because they will just ask for more and more and more and more and more.
Oh, I'm not saying give them more money. I'm saying convince them that you have a plan that can win. Like, if
Fair.
The mercenaries...
I have a plan. Don't worry about it.
I'm not saying give them anything. I'm saying give them something. I'm not saying give them more gold. I'm saying...
motivation.
Give them a reason to believe that they might win.
Yeah.
And even Elaine is like, no, we're just going to keep doing this. And I'm like, this isn't working. What you're doing isn't working. If you're those mercenaries, you have to convince them that you have, like, a strategy involved. Right? Like what's going on with the siege of Tar-Valon is, like, Egwene is, like... First of all, Egwene has, like, her people. And granted, Gareth Bryan is more closely tied to Egwene. And the army follows him because of his reputation. And I think that Elaine needs someone like that. I understand why Elaine in these chapters is like, I need Gareth Bryan. I wish he was here.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows who the fuck Brigitte is. She's never fought a battle anyone knows the name of. Like, she doesn't have any reputation, so why would anyone follow her?
Well, actually, I don't know. I feel like people are pretty sus. Her name is Brigitte. Like,
But nobody knows her, right? Whereas, like, if Gareth Bryan was there, people are like, oh yeah, Gareth Bryan wins battles.
Yeah.
If I was in that meeting with the mercenaries, I'd be like, hi, we're just dying.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. Having gold means nothing if my company's gone and I can't have a job next year.
Yeah.
So, like... Either pay us more to die for you for nothing, or tell us that, like, there's a plan. But Elaine threads the needle in the middle and goes, "You're going to keep doing this over and over and over again, and also I don't know what the fuck is. We're just going to keep doing this for now."
Yeah.
And the mercenaries are like, "Well, you didn't give us anything. Like, you didn't even convince us that you think you're going to win." And I think that there's a way for her to win this meeting by doing that, and she doesn't. Like, I don't know what she's trying to do.
Yeah, and she doesn't seem to have a plan. But she does. We do meet a character who's supposed to follow. What's his face?
Malinder says, "I wonder if they would follow Gawain." Everyone would follow Gawain.
That's why I'm saying Gawain needs to show up. Like that. That would make me so happy. Yeah, I would like Gawain to show up because I think that the idea that Elaine and Gawain are so closely tied to one another, like they need each other to succeed, I think is really interesting. So I hope that Gawain shows up, but I don't know if he will.
Athera says, I think they were more concerned with gold than concerned about the strategy. From Armilla's conversation, I think they were already set on taking the higher gold offer. Because they got to this point, they are, right? But I think that Elaine, because the meeting starts with the mercenaries saying, hey, we're losing a lot of people. And I think that if they felt like they were in a situation where they were on the winning side, they would be less convinced to take the gold. Mm-hmm. The problem is that they don't think they're on the winning side. And even Brigitte says that, right? Like, mercenaries do not want to be on the losing side when they lose.
Yeah.
They would rather turn coat and
or flee.
Have that reputation than lose because they're dead. Yeah. Like, yes, I see people saying they have a contract. They have a contract, but I don't care what my contract says. I'm not dying for you for nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my contract's not worth anything if my entire squad and myself are dead and unable to claim it. So, like, you have to convince people to be on your side.
Yeah.
And Elaine isn't doing that. Brigitte certainly isn't doing that. And the military structure of this is falling apart. And so, yeah, a week from now, Elaine's maybe fucked unless Deus Ex Machina happens.
Gawain!
I would hate that. If he rides in at the exact right time. If he gets there before it, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
But if he rides in, like...
at the dawn of the 5th day.
When we haven't even seen how he even knows she's under attack. Like...
Look, they have been there for weeks, right? Armilla has been marching towards Elaine for weeks. There's no way, with how fast rumors fly in Randland. You're telling me every other rumor would fly around, but the one that Elaine is defending Camelin would never make it to Tarvalon?
But Gawain is like a month ride away.
So,
like, he would have had to have started riding 3 weeks ago.
Traveling. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's just no way that Gawain's not aware of what's going on.
Pursoon says, what if it's Galad and the White Cloaks, though? The White Cloaks are, like, on the other side of the mountains. They're even further away.
They are pretty
They're not about
far.
to go through a gateway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, I don't feel for Elaine here. Like, she fucked up, and she didn't really do anything to win this interaction.
Well, and
she just
says,
kind of was like, I'm not giving you more money, and please go keep dying. I don't have a plan. I don't really have anything. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Fuck.
She's like, I handled that poorly. And Brigitte's like, meh.
But good news, Diolin's here now.
We didn't talk about the dude who's going to go follow Doylin Millar.
Oh, I thought that was after the Dylin stuff.
No,
it's
like
before?
The most unremarkable man who's a thief. Like, and it's like, no, I'm innocent. And they're like, we found like hundreds and hundreds of cut purses. And I just picked them up off the ground, I swear.
I also love that she's like, yeah, we found purses that have the poems that were written on purses only 20 years ago and never since.
Yeah.
So they must be from that.
Yeah. About the, like, the Aiel War or whatever.
Yeah. Gotta love him.
No,
I love this dude.
It was very funny.
I feel bad for him. He's gonna be killed.
Probably. Yeah.
He's like a non-Shadow Spawn gray man. I agree with that. I get that.
The most, like, milquetoast, boring, unremarkable character.
In the map room, Elaine is like, what's up, Dylan? How'd things go down south? And Dylan's like, well, they're not going to follow you, but they would follow me, but I said no, so they're just going to stay there. And then the kids show up and they're like, well, we got this because we're teenagers. And Elaine's like, you fucking idiots. Get the fuck out of my sight, you dumb little shits. Coming in here with your 14-year-old ass trying to think that you know what's going on in the world.
They're annoying as fuck. Also, I love that Caitlin, what's her name?
I have no idea.
I love that she's, like, obsessed with Avienda. Mm-hmm. She's like, where's Avienda? Gone where? What do you mean?
Wait, Avienda just left the plot? Oh, okay.
Like, I get it. I'm also obsessed with Avienda, so I understand.
Get it. I do understand it. But... yeah, I was definitely hoping Dylan was... I was hoping this Dylan thing was going to bring change. And the Dylan is like, no, we're in the same spot. And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. And then Elaine's like, I wish the Borderlanders were closer.
That would be nice.
But they're not, so we're kind of in the same spot.
Yes, I hope that there's a plan.
And so...
yeah, there's a cool map room. The map room is really cool.
Why have a ballroom with no balls?
Where is she? Yeah, literally.
But yeah, no, it is interesting. I like the idea that people are more behind Dylan than they are behind Elaine. Obviously, Robin kind of ruined the Trakand name. But yeah, this chapter was mostly to say that, like, nobody's moved and we're in the same spot.
Yeah. Yep. And then I think Rianne is murdered.
That's my problem with these chapters, right? Is that a lot of these meetings are like, no, things are the same.
Same. Yeah.
But no, Rianne murdered. That's sad.
Yeah.
Smothered with the power.
There's a bunch of people who have just been like, here's the weirdest part about this. A bunch of the kin have just been disappearing, and people are like, oh yeah, no, they're just running away. And this time the murderer was like, fuck, they're not getting it. So they were so aggressive and like left all these clues to make sure that people know that like there's a murderer among them. And I was like, it's unfortunate that they had to like get so upset that they weren't being noticed that they just like took it out on Rianne.
Do you think that it's a serial killer, or do you think it's like a dark friend?
I think it's Saritha and Carrie-Anne.
But why?
Fear. If the kin are like, we're here and we're being murdered and picked off one by one, bye. We're not safe here.
I feel like that's less valuable than being close to Elaine.
What?
Long term.
Oh, yeah, but Saritha and Carrie-Anne are close to Elaine. They're just scaring off people that are not on their side.
No, but I'm saying, like, if the narrative is that the kin keep running away and you keep killing them, then you are doing your job, right? You're, like, thinning out Elaine's power.
Yeah.
But to be like, no, I want you to be looking for a killer, puts them in a more risky position that could, like, ruin their proximity to Elaine, which is valuable. I
guess Rianne is just, like, pretty powerful. So they had, like, they had to have known that Rianne wouldn't, like, run away. So they kind of had to resort to, like, straight up murder.
I wish, because we see a little bit of Vandine in these chapters. We see Vandine, she's wearing Adelius's clothes. Like, it's pretty sad. But she's
not okay.
I wish we just focused more on that. Like, the murder mystery element of this is interesting, except for the fact that the writing isn't interested in it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, there is a search for a Aes Sedai murderer going on in this castle, and it gets like a couple of sentences every like 80 chapters of book.
Yeah.
And I would love just Vandine's point of view as she's trying to suss out who the murderer is. Mm-hmm. Like, there are active things going on in this palace. Elaine just isn't the one doing them. Mm-hmm. And so it's weird that she's the point of view that we're getting, because there are other people who are actually, like, we keep getting people coming up being like, we're trying to deprogram the things. And it's kind of going, okay, we're trying to find a murderer, and it's moving along. And we keep getting told that other people are doing things. And I think that that's where my, like, I feel distance from the narrative right now, because we're just watching a character be told what other people are actively doing.
Right?
Yeah. From the moment we watch Brigitte fight on the battlements to, yeah, we're going to go research who killed Rianne.
Yeah.
You go to another meeting,
Elaine. Yeah. Well, we get to see Armilla.
We change POVs.
Yeah.
And guess what? We change away from Elaine's POV. Things get more interesting immediately.
Yeah, true. Armilla is basically just gonna turn the mercenaries. Pretty much. She's like convinced of her victory. And you know what? Fair. I would be as well.
Yeah. It's going to go well in 1 week's time, which is probably somewhere in the middle of Gathering Storm.
Probably.
With the way the timeline of these books is moving, a week is probably like chapter 20 of Gathering Storm.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. We'll get there. But yeah, Armilla is the worst. Armilla is like straight up like,
I'm really hoping
the worst.
I'm honestly really hoping that based off of this like weird dinner scene, what's her face? So there's the senile man who's the rapey dude, who's the head of the house, but his niece becomes head of the house if he dies.
Yes,
I'm hoping he accidentally dies. She becomes head of the house, and then she turns on Armilla, because Armilla doesn't think anything of her, right? She's like, oh, this stupid idiot always, like, looks so spaced out. And then for a moment, she's, like, very tuned into what's happening. And then she's like, oh, it must be my imagination. And I'm like, or is it, though? Or is it? Because Because yeah, I don't think anyone would be upset if whatever his face is.
I would be
drop dead,
over the moon if that character was murdered.
Yeah,
I would be thrilled.
Yep.
I would love it so much. Because then things would happen. Chapter 18, news for the dragon. Guys, we get to Rand. The book gets better.
That's it. Yeah.
The protagonist of the series is back. And what happens? The book immediately is awesome for like the next 3 chapters. It is crazy how when you focus on the character who is at the center of the story, the story's more interesting.
It is.
It only takes 412 pages to get to the fucking protagonist of the series in this novel.
Guys, we got some good shit. Literally 400 pages.
412 pages in the Kindle version.
Yeah.
For me to get there.
In mine, it's 4, yeah.
Oh my god. And then fucking all of it's great. Loyal is sitting at the table giving Rand shit because Rand won't fucking spill the beans on what's going on with him and what happened because Rand is like trying to be humble and not trying to like gas himself up. It's great. This scene is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's great because it shows both of their characters. It really dives into who these two men are and the interaction between them. It gets a little bit ruined because Cat Swain is there, but other than that, the scene is so fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. We get a little bit from everybody. You know, we get a little bit of Nynaeve in here. We get a little bit of Cat Swain. We get Logan comes in this chapter.
Yeah.
You know, there's some cool shit happening, and I love to see it.
Yeah, we are reminded, Clarissa and I had both completely forgotten, because we read Winter's Heart forever ago, and let's be honest, Rand has barely, we read Winter's Heart in December.
Barely there. Yeah.
And Rand has not been in the book since.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a little bit of Cat Swain's POV in Crossroads of Twilight. But Rand is like thinking about the dude he ran into in Shadar Logoth. And I was like, who the fuck did Rand run into in Shadar Logoth? I had completely forgotten.
Forgot.
There's like a weird, that Moradin was there.
Yeah. I'm
and Moradin helped him fight Samael. Moradin helped him balefire Samael. Right?
I think it's Moradin.
It is Moradin, because he's using the true power there, right?
Yeah.
It has to be Moradin.
Has to
Moradin helped Rand fight Samael.
Yeah.
But why? Don't know.
No idea.
But we'll get to it. Rand is lost in thought. He's just like not really paying attention. And everybody is sick because the servants don't want to throw out food even if it's rotting, so they're just eating it and getting sick, and then the Aes Sedai are healing them, which is a goddamn nightmare. But like, I what I appreciated about it was we've had all of this conversation about how the food is going bad for like a book and a half, and this was the first time where I felt like it was affecting characters' choices, and I was like, this was really interesting.
Yeah.
The constant talk of the Weevils is getting a little bit like my brain goes numb about it.
Yeah.
But like this was an actual like, hey, this is what is literally the problem with the food going bad and what happens, what the side effects of that are.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated Robert Jordan focusing in on that for a second, because we've had 2.5 books of them talking about the food all going bad.
Yeah.
And with the like never ending summer before that and the food all going bad, there should be almost no food in Rhineland. Like there literally should be almost nothing to eat anywhere.
Times are tough. I wonder if, I wonder how much the Sanshin brought with them. I feel like the Sanshin-controlled lands are probably okay. I don't know what their weather was like, but...
Yeah. I'm sure the Dark One touching the world affected Sanshin as well. I don't think it just affected Randland.
No, I'm assuming. I don't know for sure, but yeah. None of the Sanshin have talked about the weather, really, so... Logain shows up. Is this where he... No. We find out later that Logain knows about the prophecy. Min's vision, I should say. Which is interesting. Rand is like... Is this where Rand talks about the bonding of the Aes Sedai?
Yes.
Yeah. Awkward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Logain walks in, and he's like, yo, went to Andor. Things are pretty okay. Nothing's changed there.
Well, Tame has his, like, inner circle. He's, recruiting more and more dark friends. Like, Logain is, like, super, super fucking sus. And Rand is not sus enough.
I think he is. Rand doesn't like Tame. Rand just knows that there's nothing he can do about it right now.
Yeah.
He should. He should go, like, slit his throat to sleep. But
I don't know. They kind of argue, like, how bad it is.
Kind of, yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I definitely thought the way that it was written that Rand overheard that Tame sent the Dark Friends to try and murder him.
Yeah.
But he's not acting like he did hear that. So
no, I think I disagree. I think that
really?
Rand is going, yeah, no, Tame's fucking evil. I cannot go fight him right now. There's 50 Ashman there who will stand with him. So he's like, he sends Logain in to sneak as many Ashman who aren't fully in Tame's pocket out of there and move them around the country so that Tame cannot, like, indoctrinate them. But yeah. Rand does not have the ability to go fight Tame right now.
Yeah.
He can't fight that many people. I mean, he does. We'll see that Rand is Luce Theron is the greatest channeler of all fucking time. But
yeah. Varen is also like, hey, the last battle's close.
Mm-hmm.
Guess Tame's gonna have to wait.
Yeah, and I think that's fair, right? Like, Rand has 10 channelers with him, and Tame has 50? What is he gonna do? You're not gonna win that fight.
Yeah, and you can't, like, pull everybody out of the tower without Tame being, like, suspicious, obviously.
Yeah, and so he has Logain move enough people around. I feel like that that totally made sense to me. Because what's he gonna do? Like,
yeah, I think the only thing he can do in this situation is kind of, like, show up and, you know, win over, like, the loyalties of people, but that takes time that Rand doesn't have.
But if he shows up, Tame might try and kill him.
Maybe.
Like, if he shows up and tries to sway loyalty away from Tame, that might cause a fight as well that he doesn't know that he can win right now.
I don't mean from, like, Tame's inner circle, but there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who are not in Tame's inner circle who are just, like, they're learning. So I feel like they're kind of fair game.
Yeah. Yeah, it just starts a fight that I don't think he's ready to have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough because it is an excuse to have Rand not do anything, which isn't my favorite. Mm-hmm. But it's an excuse that I buy enough of. Mm-hmm. But no, I agree with you. Like, I don't. But I think Rand knows Tame's evil. I just think that he's just not willing. I guess. And honestly, like, that's the story of all of our characters. They're not willing to do anything. The only reason Rand ends up in a fight in the next chapter is because they brought it to him. Yeah. Like, it's not like Rand is. Well, Rand cleansed the taint and then has been sitting in a manor for a book and a half.
Because Rand is worried about starting more fights, right? We learned that the Aelfin told him that he has to unite everybody.
The west and the south and the north and the east must be united as one. And then those two things also have to be united as one in order to win.
Yeah, so
so he's like, maybe the Sanchin can have the south and the west.
For the moment, we'll give it to them. So
which is cheap. That's a cheap narrative device. Our character is going to not act because the Aelfin told him a prophecy. It's just a cheap narrative device. He's not
meeting with the Sanchin.
But
he's trying to unite everybody as opposed to, like, burning it all to the ground.
To have a truce, yeah.
Because here's the thing: Rand might have taken up very different tactics without this information.
Sure, but that's why it's a cheap narrative device, is because it is just these characters told him he had to do this, and so he's behaving this way because of what these super magic extra dimensional characters said. That is what a cheap narrative device is.
Yeah, like not like bad, but
no, I'm not saying bad. I'm saying that it is a cheap, like, instead of Rand having to use his life experience and his advisors and make a decision, he doesn't have to do that because the magic fairy people from the other dimension told him.
Yeah.
That's a cheap narrative device. It allows for the plot to move along at the speed the writer wants it to without having to have character motivations explain why things are happening.
Yeah.
Rand has no character motivation to work with the Sanchin. He has a prophecy from the Aelfin that tell him he has to. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
And so that's why he's behaving the way that he is. It's not coming from him. It's coming from this outside source that isn't a person. It's just magic fairy people.
Yeah.
It's just a cheap narrative device that has led to an interesting conversation between him and Cadsuane, where Cadsuane is like, no, it's wrong to work with them. Like, the interesting part of the cheap narrative device is how people respond, and Cadsuane pushing back is the interesting part, right?
Yeah, and also, like, the fact that he has to, like, bind the 9 moons, and so he is going to fall for this trap, I believe. It has to be some kind of trap, because we know Suroth doesn't have the Daughter of the 9 Moons, so that's very confusing, but they've, like, been... But he's, like... he thinks that he has to meet with them because they said Daughter of the Nine Moons, and he's like, oh yeah, now I know what this is. It's very confusing.
But this is the problem with prophecy.
Yeah.
Is that what does Rand want to do? Mm-hmm. I have no idea. Rand is currently trying to satisfy prophecies because he thinks that that is going to help him win Tarmangaden. But in doing so, he's not bolstering support in the countries that he currently controls. Mm-hmm. Like, the prophecies are pulling him away from things that might actually help him have an army at Tarmangaden, but he is letting all of the countries that he rules kind of fall apart a little bit in order to try and satisfy prophecies that he's not even actively trying to satisfy. He's sitting in a manor somewhere so worried about prophecy that he is not acting.
Well, he's also worried about channeling. He can't fucking channel without falling over.
But that's why these chapters are so interesting to me. Is because, yes, the prophecies, using prophecies in narrative is a cheap storytelling device.
Yeah.
But what Robert Jordan has done with that cheap storytelling device that is very interesting and is very cool is that he has essentially hamstrung his protagonist and like, I wish that there was more narrative progression. Obviously, I keep saying that. But he has hamstrung his narrative, protagonist into this point where he's sitting saying, I can't do this. Like, I can't move in this direction or else I might not satisfy this prophecy. I can't move in this direction without maybe not satisfying this prophecy. Yeah. So I'm going to sit here and talk about it and hope that something will come to me.
Well, and he is waiting to hear back about the meeting with the Sanshin, right? Because
but this is a character
shows up and it's like, okay, so you are going to meet them. You're going to do it here. You know, like, he is... Yes, he is sitting there waiting, but that's because plans are in motion and he's waiting to hear back about the Daughter of the Nine Moons.
But this is a character who can teleport. Yeah. So, like, for him to spend...
But he can't show up.
No, but he can go do other things. He can have other goals.
But he can't channel without, like, falling over.
Get over it. Fall over every once in a while.
What do you mean?
I'm saying that, like, Rand has the ability to be handling multiple things at once, and he is allowing... I am waiting for the Sanshin message to come back. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to sit here until that happens.
But he can't channel without getting sick. And the next time he channels, Lews Therin literally seizes it from him.
But he doesn't know that.
No, but he's worried about it. Lews Therin has tried multiple times.
I like these chapters. I'm not saying these chapters are bad. I'm saying that it is interesting that Rand feels so hamstrung and stuck.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's interesting because he has the ability to go to other things.
Yeah, but he can't.
Like, if there wasn't for teleportation, him being stuck in this manor house is less interesting because, yeah, of course he's stuck there. It would be a month's ride. The message wouldn't be able to get back to him.
Right.
What's interesting is that Rand has the ability to go do other things.
Yeah.
He's just not because he is so worried about prophecy. The weight of the prophecy is wearing him down so much that he's sitting in this manor house not doing things that he could go do.
Yeah.
That's interesting storytelling to me. There's a lot of like character, and we see that in the way that he talks about his accomplishments with Loyal.
And I think it puts an importance, like it really highlights his importance on the Sanshin thing, because imagine, somebody teleports them to go deal with another small thing, but that something goes wrong there or whatever, and then he's not there when he gets the word back from the Sanshin. Like, he's like waiting because he's putting this at like the top of his priority list.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is interesting. It's a little unfortunate that we know that meeting can't. Like, we have too much...
No, I think it's interesting. I'm like, what the fuck is this meeting gonna be?
It will be interesting when we get to it.
Yeah.
The reading Rand waiting for a meeting that isn't going to be what he thinks it's going to be is a little bit like, because I'm ahead of him, the whole time he's talking about the meeting with the Sanshin, I'm like, just show me the meeting. Like I don't care. I know that Tuon's not going to be there, so I would like to get to it. And we're not getting to things.
Yeah.
We are still talking about this meeting with the Sanshin that was the end of the last book. Yeah. That was 500 pages ago where they were sent to set up a meeting with the Sanshin, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just at a point with these books where I will get more excited when we get to the things that we keep talking about doing.
Yeah.
But they're set up. Like, I feel fully set up for all of our plots. I did not need more setup. And Knife of Daggers, I felt fully set up at the end of the last book. And the Knife of Daggers was like, no, don't worry. We're going to get to it. There's 450 pages of more setup first, though.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, on a page count level, I am past like forgiveness for Robert Jordan here. I am like, there are 2 full novels in this book so far to continue to set up the plot lines that were already set up in the last book. And so I'm just at a point where I'm like, I will be invested when you get there. I like the characters. I still think there's a lot here that I love, but I also think that like you set it up. Mm-hmm. Something can happen, and then there's chapters where things do happen.
Yeah.
But sometimes those are about random other plot lines that I'm ready. I am fully invested in File getting saved. But like if I have to read another chapter about tying fucking knots into a rope, I'm kind of done. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm done with the setup. I'm just trying to like fucking get past it so that we can do something.
Robert Jordan, I'm ready. Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, we find out that there's some Ogier show up.
What?
And Loyal is like, oh no. Oh no. And Katswin is like, ah yes, your mom. You probably shouldn't keep her waiting. Loyal's like, oh my god, you're right.
Yeah.
So we get to chapter 19. The vows. Which we reacted to. You can go watch our reaction to it if you're a member or on Patreon.
I am so surprised that this did not win over chapter 20. Blue, thank you for paying for us to do this one instead of chapter 20. Or both. We did both. Yeah, this is like one of the best chapters in the series.
Yeah.
It is. It's just, this is one of, it's not Emond's Field good. That is still my favorite chapter. It's not quite Dumai's Wells, but this might be like third behind Dumai's Wells and the Battle of Emond's Field.
Yeah.
In terms of like individual chapters.
There's been some really good ones. Yeah, this is definitely top 5, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
This is...
Thank you, Blue, for sponsoring this one.
Ember Eye says marriage and Ogier culture is once again disturbing. Yes.
All of it is. All of it fucking is. Jesus Christ. Yeah, my mom and your mom decided we should get married. Hi.
Well, that's real world cultures, though.
I still hate it.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Like, we're not fans. But I want to be clear, like, if that is your culture...
Hey, I said top 5. Cleansing is up there.
There are cultures where arranged marriages are still a thing, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm... I don't know how to even be, like... I don't even know. I hate the idea of it.
I hate it.
But I am not... Admittedly not the most family-oriented person.
Uh-huh.
I love my family very much.
Look, the idea of arranged marriages is to pump out babies, not to give people a happy life.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where, like, arranged marriage is very much a thing like this. Like, two moms will get together and decide their kids are going to get married. That makes me physically uncomfortable.
Because it's real.
But I also, like, know people in arranged marriages who are really happy, and I would never want them to think that I look down on them. Like, it's that thing of, like...
if they're happy...
The institution... I don't like the institution... I have nothing against the individuals who participate in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, like, it's just Loyal literally says in the moment, wow, I wish someone would ask me. Right? Loyal has zero say in this, and that's unfortunate. It's a good thing that he likes Aerith, and that he does want to marry her, but nobody asks him.
Literally, he's the only person not talking in the scene.
Yeah.
And that makes it weirder. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that the two moms decided, and then Aerith has a say in it. Mm-hmm. Like, they're like, Aerith, do you feel ready? And she's like, you know what? I do. My weaving is going really well. I'm taking on an apprentice. I'm ready to get married. And then I'm like, oh, and then they're going to be like, Loyal, do you feel ready? And they just don't ask him. That's what makes the scene weird. Yes. Is that they give Aerith a say in it. That her opinion matters and his doesn't. Is where the scene got weird for me.
Yeah.
It's still very funny. The ear hardening is so fucking weird. It's very Ferengi. I said that in the reaction.
It's very funny. I loved it.
Them nosing each other. Like, there's a lot of, like, funny stuff here, but the thing that, like, kind of darkens it is her getting to be like, I'm ready for this. And Loyal being like,
hi, I'm here too. Yeah. Also, hi, the other half of this marriage.
What kind of saves it at the end for me is that Aerith is not like his mom.
And tries to, like, control Loyal.
And she's
Loyal
like...
is very Aerith is very supportive of Loyal. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I do think that they're going to be happy together. I do think it's nice that Loyal also likes Aerith. But, like, it's still weird. No one fucking asks him. Like, yeah.
Michael L. says, this is where I disagree on both of them. It is a fantasy race of creatures in a fantasy series. I couldn't possibly make a value judgment on it.
Just because it's fantasy doesn't mean you can take consent away from
Do you think
people.
that, like, consent doesn't exist for other races?
Yeah.
Do you think like elves don't need to have consent in their culture?
Here's the thing: at the level of sentience,
I'll be right back. You talk about consent, and I'll be.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Oh. That's fair. I get to talk about consent. The level, like it. I don't know. It's not like they're like pets or like dogs or like less sentient or less aware of their situation. Like consent should be a right for all things of sentience. So I don't really know why them like being a different species or race like has anything to do with like whether or not they should be able to consent to how their life is going to play out, right? Borgs do not have consent in their culture because the Borgs are bad. I don't know if you know this, but the Borgs are the bad guys. They kind of suck, historically. You know, if you take Star Trek to be historical, and, you know, that's on you. I do consent to talk about, I consent to talking about consent because I think it's really important. Right? It does make me sad that Loyal has absolutely no say and no agency in this moment, and he feels it. Even though I think he's going to be happy with Aerith, and I think that Aerith is a good choice for him, the fact that he has absolutely no say whatsoever, it's still unfortunate. And these books have a lot of that going on, right? Robert Jordan tried to write about a world that is matriarchal instead of patriarchal, right? Where his mom and her mom made the decision for him. It's still unfortunate. Like where it's coming from. If the decision is not between the two people that it involves, then I think it is unfortunate.
Well, and he actively doesn't want to get married, right? Like he's been saying for multiple books that he does not want this to happen.
Yeah, and like here's the thing, he does want to marry Aerith, but not yet. Mm-hmm. And he knows if he says no in this situation, that everyone involved is going to be personally affronted, yep. And he may never get the chance to make it right with her. And so, you know, he puts her above himself. Which is why I love Loyal. You know, Loyal is a wonderful, wonderful character that I wish we had more of in these books.
Yeah.
But just because that they're Ogier doesn't mean that their consent isn't as important as it is to the humans. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they get married.
And then we find out that Rand is just fucking inept at protecting his own compound. Because 100,000 Trollocs show up and they have no warning. Mm-hmm. How do you not have fucking scouts, Rand? How do you not have wards? How do you not have a ward saying there's shadow spawn coming, like a mile out of your...
Moraine? Well, actually, she doesn't know how sight didn't work. Never mind. But I was like, Moraine has wards to alert against, like, shadow spawn. So...
As Modine teaches Rand those wards. Books ago.
I don't remember that.
And there's nothing. The only reason they find out the shadow spawn are coming is because Loyal's like, there's Trollocs. And I'm like, you didn't have scouts? 100,000? Do you know how fucking much 100,000 is?
Yeah.
That's miles of people. You would hear them long before they're in the trees.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? How did they get this close without you knowing?
It's a great question. Loyal literally looks outside and is like, oh, Trollocs.
Like, you should have had 2 days' notice. Literally. You should have, like...
You should have someone watching the Waygates.
Well, yeah, that. But also, like...
You should have eyes on them.
Like, I was like, Rand, you don't have scouts? Like, you don't have people watching the perimeter? God damn, dude.
Yeah. He did feel them, but he felt them in the same moment everybody else did when they were already at the front door. Like, they were already there.
In Rand's defense, the Trollocs did not have a tell.
You know what? Fair enough. Did not have a tell, which is unfortunate.
Ildram says Cadsuane felt them around the same time Loyal spotted them. Here's the thing. It's 100,000. You should see them coming a week away. Like,
maybe not that much.
But like, at least a day.
He does have Saldaeans there. You know, they could be patrolling. But no, they show up. They're here to...
They show up at the edge of the property. It's like, oh, fuck, let's get to it.
They're here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and there's no bubblegum for Shadow Spawn. It makes them explode. So they're just here to kick ass, but they don't.
God, do they ever not? Guys, holy shit.
I think, it's 20 Saldaeans that die, and 100,000 Trollocs.
This is where the power creep of the series gets a little bit silly in that how inept are the Forsaken? Like, how bad are they at channeling?
What do you mean? The Forsaken aren't there.
No. Okay, so my point is, throughout this whole series, Rand has been able to put up a decent fight with Forsaken, in that he's killed them every time he's interacted with them. Mm-hmm. Lews Therin shows us what an Age of Legends channeler can do, and he fucking kills 100,000 Trollocs. Not single-handedly, but, like, a good chunk.
Yeah. And
so my question is, like, why was Robin so incapable of fighting with him? And this goes back to, I think I said this in, like, book 3, of, like, why do the Age of Legends channelers feel so bad at channeling? They should have all of this knowledge.
Yeah,
they should have this insane amount of knowledge about channeling. And then, like they fight them. Bran fights them, like, to a standstill at the worst and beats them. They should not lose. Like, they should have destroyed Cadsuane's team at Shadar Logoth. They have 3,000 years of knowledge.
Robin technically won against Rand. It was Nynaeve that saved them, right?
She distracted Robin for momentarily.
Yeah, because Rand was losing. Rand was almost dead.
He was almost a wolf.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm not completely disagreeing with you. I do agree that Lews Therin shows up and is like, but bam, 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 bam. And I'm like, oh, I feel like the Forsaken might know these weaves, but I guess not.
The Forsaken, it's just interesting.
Yeah. Maybe they know different weaves. Or maybe they're not powerful. Like, Rand is the most powerful, although Logain is able to imitate. So it stands to reason that, the Forsaken would be powerful enough for these weaves as well.
The Forsaken just sort of feel like silly characters to be villains at this point to me, because they don't really do anything. They don't interact with the plot all that often. They kind of, like, pop in and out randomly and get their asses kicked when they do.
Yeah, I was hoping there would be one here that, like,
that would be interesting.
Put up a good fight, but then didn't realize that Logain was also there and the other channelers, showed up to try to take Rand on. Mm-hmm. But there was too many. And maybe they did. Maybe they did see all the weaving and were like, shit, and, like, ran away. But, like, maybe we get a Samael perspective in, like, a couple chapters. It's like, I got the fuck out of there.
Yeah. I other than, like, Lanfear and I guess Ishamael a little bit, the Forsaken just aren't very compelling villains. They're just kind of goofy. And I wish they weren't.
I don't know if I consider them goofy, but I don't think that they're the greatest villains. I think... Yeah.
I find them kind of... the way that they, like, posture in their fucking, like, gardens, their fake gardens, because they miss the old days, I just find them kind of goofy when they get together. They're so petty and, like,
fucking rich and entitled.
Yeah, they're just kind of like rich elites who think that they're really good at shit and they're not. And so they just always...
I think that's the parody. I think the Forsaken are Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah. No, but they're more like Elon Musk than they are like an actual actual evil to me. Because they're gonna get their asses kicked. Like, they don't come across as competent.
Yeah, Twitter is about to defeat Robin.
It feels like the Forsaken should have showed up and fucked shit up from the beginning, and they've never fucked anything up. Except, like, off-panel, where we learned that, like, the Domani are maybe under Grendel's control, but also, like, are they? I don't even know what the... Remember when she was controlling that whole country, and that, like, didn't lead to anything forever ago? And now Rand's trying to install someone in Ereddomin, but, like...
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck happened with the Grendel Ereddomin storyline from literal forever ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just Lews Therin takes over, and he's suddenly able to do these weaves that are so they're so much bigger than anything we've seen before, which would make sense if we hadn't spent time with so many characters who are from his timeline, who should know the same things he knows.
It's true. It did come as a bit of a surprise that, like, Lews Therin has all these, like, things pulled out of his pocket that we didn't see at, like, the cleansing of the taint or something like that.
He is burning 30-yard patches, six at a time. Like,
blossoms of fire.
Oh my god, the death gates, the finger arrow fire things. Like,
Unlimited power.
Rotating gateways. Like, the 12 Forsaken should not need armies. They should be, if they can do these weaves, they should be fine on their own. Why do they need fucking anybody else? Samael should be popping into Matt's camp and just throwing some death gateways and popping out. Like, if the Forsaken actually want to win, they're fucking terrible at it. They have access to crazy shit, and they're not using any of it.
Because they all, like, and here's the thing. The Dark One thinks that, dissent among his followers makes them, do worse and worse things, climb over one another for more power. But it actually, I think, hinders way more than it helps because no one fucking trusts one another. Nobody's like, I'm going to take a step forward here in case somebody interprets it this way and then they do something here. Like, everyone's just kind of like at like they're all playing Twister and they're all wrapped around one another and they're all like, I should move my right hand. But if I do that, I'm going to, like, knock over Samael, and then Samael's going to kick Graendal in the face, and then no one's having a good time.
But they've been in life or death fights before, and not used this crazy shit. That's the power creep I'm talking about. I mean... Where, like, the Forsaken have only used abilities that were a little bit ahead of where Rand is throughout the whole series.
The Forsaken can't really use the Death Gates.
Why
agree.
Not?
Well, because when the Trollocs go through, they die, but if people go through, they just go through. Right? It murders Shadow Spawn when they go through. Yeah, it could displace armies.
When it opens and closes, it kills everyone it touches. Look, even if it displaces people, you still have chainsaws of death chewing through the Foreign Army and displacing the Foreign Army to who the fuck knows where.
No, I think that's
just have them go to
fair.
Fucking the cold land of the Sanchin, and the entire enemy army freezes to death.
Send them to Shara.
I think I'm a little bit frustrated that the magic in this world, that there's so many cool things that people can do with it. And I think my frustration is that nobody ever does anything cool with the magic until, like, scenes like this. But, like, there's all these, like, crazy magical possibilities, but the, like, actual battle is so mundane between good and evil. They're usually just running at each other and, like, poking each other with swords. And I'm like, these characters should be... and it's the same problem I have with, like, late series Harry Potter, where, especially the movies, where they're just shooting black and white smoke at each other.
Spell,
yeah. I'm like, you have magic, and you're using it to do, like... Everyone's like, oh, I've got Balefire. And I'm like, you can rotating chainsaw of death the battlefield.
And I think that the Forsaken's selfishness is their ultimate downfall, right? Mm-hmm. They don't want Moradin to be the nipples. They want to be the nipples. So they want to maneuver themselves into the best position of power before they start, like, winning things because it looks better on them. And it's so fucking complicated and petty, which is why I think it's, like, interesting, and it's going to be the downfall, right? But it makes them incompetent in a lot of ways, right? Yeah. Because they're just too busy squabbling with one another.
I hope Moradin shows that he isn't. Because I need a villain that I give a shit about, and I don't really have one right now. I don't really care about any of the villains.
I wish Padan Fain was more prevalent.
But I don't know that Padan Fain is still a thing after Shadar Logoth is dead.
We don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
no idea.
Padan Fain is great. I love him. I like Aleda. The villains that I like aren't on the Dark One side, which is what's weird about it.
Yeah.
The villains I actually find interesting because the Forsaken feel like they have been written to allow Rand to get to the final book, as opposed to ever using their full power.
Yeah.
And that in a, like, trilogy, it happens, whatever. But in a 14-book series, by book 11, the Forsaken are still kind of like, we're the silly gooses who are gonna poke and prod at you, but we're never gonna actually try very hard to win. And I'm like, well, if you're not gonna try that hard to win, I'm not gonna give a shit.
Yeah, because they wanna be at the top before the winning happens.
I do love this, though. So Lews Therin takes the power. Don't know what the fuck that means, really. I'm so excited to find out, because it was rad. Like, you guys saw the reaction. I lost it. This is like... Fabu says the Forsaken like Jesse James and Meowth. Yes. That is exactly what I'm feeling, Fabu. They are the silly, goofy goobers, and I need Giovanni. Because I need the actual villain of this series.
Yeah.
Rand starts destroying shit, and Logain looks over and is like, oh shit, and he starts destroying shit too. His is a little bit smaller.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. He's a little insecure about it, but it's a little bit smaller.
It's fine.
And they just churn and churn and churn. And Rand is like, Logain, Lews, put out the fires. Put out the fires, Lews. And Lews Therin does not listen. So he's Logain, put out the fucking fires. My brain is not touching my hands.
My brain is not touching my hands.
Okay, the only part of this, because I reread it, right, before book club. The part of this that made me laugh so hard on the reread is all I could picture when Lews Therin is like, I can't move my hands, is Ricky Bobby in the interview scenes from Talladega Nights where he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. What do I do with my hands?
Never seen
And so suddenly I pictured in my head Luce Theron Rand combo as Will Ferrell just murdering Trollocs while like randomly his hands are being like,
Oh my god. I've never seen it, but...
And guess what? They win.
Yeah.
They lose 20 Saldaeans. Like, fuck, what a... Goddamn.
Yeah. Although Rand is like, we still lost people. Like, you know, every victory still has its cost, which is why I think he wants to unite people.
Nah.
Oh, please.
When you kill 100,000 Trollocs and you lose 20, you barely lost.
It's a victory, which he acknowledges.
It is a victory so overwhelming in odds.
Yes.
Ah, man, we lost 20 people to 100,000 Trollocs.
That's pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty wild. They almost didn't win though, just in terms of like proximity. You know, if Logain hadn't showed up, they probably would have been fucked. But
maybe. Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh no, for sure. But they killed 100,000 Trollocs. They've had much worse odds, and they've lost a lot worse in the past.
Here's the thing. I feel like the final battle needs to be like 10 million Trollocs. At this point,
any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. But if you can waste 100,000 on a whatever whim, how many are there? 36.
Well, and
counted them myself. Like I'm just like, what the fuck is the last battle?
The numbers, and this is where like the conversation with Fork Root started, where I was like, the numbers are starting to get a little bit silly. Mm-hmm. Like we're gonna poison a whole lake. There's 100,000 Trollocs in this battle. Like I'm starting to be like, oh, we're creeping up into like anime. It's
getting big.
Yeah, and like we have 3.5 books left. Mm-hmm. What's fucking left?
That's
if
what I mean.
Rand and Logain can almost single-handedly churn through 100,000 Trollocs, what the fuck is?
That's what I mean. It has to be like 10 million Trollocs. Like for the scale of it to work. Like if this is just like nothing, whatever, then the last battle has to be fucking massive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but they annihilate them, and Luce Theron is about to unalive themselves. Yeah. Luce Theron is like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here, and Rand is like, wait, no, please, not until after the last battle, and Luce Theron is like, okay, fine, and let's go with the power. But everyone is very concerned. I love that everyone's like, you're holding so much of the power, and Rand is like, yep, right as well, Water. Everything's good. Fine and dandy. And Min is like, you motherfucking liar. Like.
And meanwhile on the inside, he's like, drop it. Luce, drop it.
Drop it. It's like a dog.
And we can kill ourselves later.
Yeah. It's like a dog when they're playing fetch, but they won't give it back. It's like, no, drop it. Drop it.
Emre says I might want to check the video description.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Oh no, it's that's not our address, guys. That's our
PO
box. That's
that
not where we live.
We talked about at the beginning of stream.
I'll add PO box to it just so that.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That stops happening. Yeah, we didn't put our address on the stream, guys.
That would be incredible. Yeah. No, because James Ross.
Yeah, James Ross sent us the Rocinante.
A lovely gift for
Here are pieces of it.
The Expanse.
Look at that.
I'm very excited to paint it.
Look at that.
I love painting minis. It's not really miniature. It is miniature.
I mean, it is.
It's to scale, but like, yeah.
No, it's going to be fun. We have our own little Rocinante.
Yeah, I'm excited to
The
build
Expanse finale goes up tonight at 6 p.m.
Ah!
Oh, no, I was holding it upside down. Boom.
Nailed it.
Guys, we love The Expanse. It is a great series. So.
Yeah, if you want to send us stuff, feel free. I think somebody wanted to send us food for like a taste test.
Yeah, an international taste test company wants us to do a video on international food tastes.
Cool. As long as it's not spicy. We're also going to do... I've never tried the Girl Guide Scout cookies in America, so we're gonna get cookies, and we're going to taste them. Mm-hmm. Because here we only have 2. We only have the chocolate vanilla box and the mint chocolate box.
Yeah.
It's very sad. But it's fine.
We would all come visit. Don't go to that address. We will not be there.
We won't be there.
we don't even live really close to there.
No.
It is closer to our house than our old P.O. box.
Yeah.
But we do not...
it's definitely not like walking distance.
Yeah. And Bryce says, are Girl Scouts cookies any good? They are. They're fantastic, and I love them.
Yeah, I the Girl Guide cookies are pretty good, so I'm assuming.
So then Ken Swain threatens Min, and Rand is like, not on my fucking watch. And the Min is like, I can handle myself. And Rand is like, all right, she can handle herself, but don't you fucking threaten her. And I was like, yeah, Ken Swain. If I didn't already fucking hate you, threatening Min would be the last straw, okay? Leave my girl alone.
How dare you?
She's the best female character in this whole goddamn series.
You don't come after
Leave
Min.
Min alone.
We will fight you.
I've never felt more vindicated in my despise of Cat Swain than I do after watching her threaten Min.
Yeah,
oh my god.
That was definitely a strike against Cat Swain for me.
I do not regret the Cat Swain sucks shirt at all. Don't fucking threaten our girl, okay?
And Matrix says something actually really interesting. I don't know if you guys see this, but there's a like button on the video. God. And if you click it, I'll appreciate you.
I just love Min. And Cat Swain is only still with Rand, not through any of her actions, but because, and like this is also cheap, right? This is a cheap prophecy that is put Rand in a position where he accepts Cat Swain. This is another element of that same thing where like Cat Swain has never done anything to win Rand's trust.
Yeah.
She is only there because Min says that she has to teach him something.
Yeah.
And so Rand puts up with her behavior, which is childish and just like honestly, it's getting to the point where it's like fucking pathetic. Yeah. Like just behave like an adult, Cat Swain. Everyone else is looking at you like you're being a fucking asshole and you don't see it. But like that is a cheap narrative device, right? Like, oh no. We have to put up with the old lady that doesn't understand how to be a kind or like empathetic or just like normal person because Min's prophecy says that there's something you have to learn from her. Yeah. That's cheap.
I wonder if Cat Swain thinks she might be dying and is like trying to here's the thing. People are more aggressive and forward with their intentions and trying to achieve their goals if they think they have limited time left. And I just wonder, Cat Swain is the oldest Aes Sedai. I wonder if she feels like she is dying and has to do as much as she possibly can, no matter who it hurts, in that short of time.
That's why she's
just
knitting.
a guess. I don't know. She keeps up appearances, right? If she doesn't appear to be perturbed, then whatever. But yeah, it was just a thought that came to me in this moment that I thought might be interesting.
I think Cat Swain survives the heat death of the universe.
She's a cockroach.
She is a cockroach.
Oh my gosh.
And Will says Cat Swain dying is an interesting concept. Can we explore that more and maybe make it happen?
I don't know. It's just an idea.
Chapter 20, The Golden Crane.
So.
Rand.
So.
Surveys the field and is like, holy shit, a lot of people died. It stinks out here.
Wait, we didn't talk about...
What did we not talk about?
Wait, is this in this chapter? No, because this is the last chapter. We missed Loyal having to give a speech at the stump because the Ogiers are going to mass kill themselves.
I was going to bring that up.
Oh, in this one?
Well, yeah, because Haman and Ogier... Yeah, I was about to bring that up. But yeah,
okay, sure. Sorry. I just was like, oh, shit.
They're not going to mass kill themselves.
That's what it sounds like.
No. I don't think that's what it is.
They're moving to a different plane of existence.
Yeah.
Heaven?
The Undying Lands.
Yeah, they're going to the Undying Lands.
It's Cherise.
Thank you for that super chat.
I feel like Palpatine when you talk about hating Cat Swain. Good. Let your hatred flow. It gives you focus. I do like that.
Yeah, this whole book of translation thing was like not talked about at all. And I was like, oh, they're just going to peace out.
I think they're going to like dip out and come back.
Come back?
Maybe come back, or they'll stay wherever they're going. It does feel like a ripoff of the elves from Lord of the Rings. Yeah, where they're like, oh, the humans are fighting? We're going to go fuck off to the Undying Lands.
Bye! Yeah.
But yeah, Loyal is being pitched by his wife to talk them out of it.
His mom's like, I mean, you're fine, I guess. It's like, well, thanks, Mom, for the support.
You don't speak that well. And Aerith is like, shut the fuck up. This is my man now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You don't get to fucking talk to him anymore.
Are you putting your opinion above that of his wife's? I thought you wanted him to marry me. And I was like, Aerith.
The cultures of this series are exhausting.
And this was hilarious to me because
it's so funny, but can you imagine living under that?
Oh no, 100%. But it is close to home, I think, for a lot of people. You know, that whole like wife-mother-in-law relationship is not always smooth or even pleasant for many, many people. And Aerith is like, oh no, you gave him to me, so shut the fuck up. Like,
I remember early on people were like, which culture would you want to live in Randland? And my initial answer was not a fucking one of them. I think I would go with like a poor village in Andor, where like the cultural expectations aren't so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like every other culture we meet is so over the top with like the cultural differences have to be these like insane things that everybody like Deus Damar and Kyrian is nutso. To live like that would fucking suck.
No, thank you.
The constant stabbings in Ebu Dar are crazy. The Aiel their whole culture is just insane to imagine living under the oppression of. Like,
I would live with Berlane. You know, I would live with Berlane. She seems
and just what
fun.
Like be trying to steal married men because you want to be slutted up.
No, I wouldn't say I would be Berlane, but like Maine seems
that's
like
what
a
they
good
all
place.
do there though. They're all just slutting it up
How
on
do
the
you know?
island because that's what it's described as. People are like, oh yeah, Berlane is the quintessential Mainer in that she's basically naked and trying to fuck everybody. All of these cultures are like self-oppression in a weird way.
I would live with the Damani because I like no clothes.
The Damani?
Not the Damani. Sorry, the fucking... you know exactly... Oh my god, I can... The
fuck are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Look at my face. Do I look like I know what you're talking about?
The clear silk clothes. Leanne is a...
You want to be a slave?
No. Yeah, the Domani. Yeah, you fucked with me. You're thinking the Dakovala. You're thinking about the Domani.
Oh, the Domani, not the Damani.
Yeah. I
thought you were like, I want to be a collared channeler. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No. Okay, yeah. Very confusing. Thank you, Robert Jordan, for that one.
I was so confused. And then you said the clear robes, and I was like, the Dakoval? Like,
no, that got confusing. My bad.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's too many nude cultures. These books are so weird. I
like nudity. I'm a big fan of it.
Wow, this series is so fucking strange.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell if I like it anymore. Like, I actually don't know if I enjoy this. I am so frustrated reading these books, and it sometimes feels so silly, and like I'm like literally like laughing at like a comedy of errors. But then like really serious shit happens and people die, and I'm like, I feel like my brain has been torn into this like, you know when they draw and quarter someone and they attach their hands and legs to 4 horses and they run away and you get ripped apart? I feel like the Wheel of Time is doing that to my brain. In that the plot lines are so fucking like silly sometimes, and like some of these characters are so fucking awful, but some of it is so good.
Yeah.
And some of it is like this chapter, right? Chapter 19, chapter 20, the end of this reading this week is so fucking good. That like I'm like still in it and I'm still reading it. I'm not giving up on the series because there's stuff that is amazing. But then there's other stuff where I'm reading it and I'm like, this is not good. And I can't fucking get my brain past the fact that like I will read a chapter and think, God damn it, Robert Jordan doesn't know how to write a fucking word. And then I'll read the next chapter and I'm like, God damn it, Robert Jordan is writing some of the best fantasy I've ever read. And they're like, I don't think this series is good, but I think that some parts of it are so good that you have to respect all of it for some reason, and I don't know what to do with that. Like, I don't know what to do with the Wheel of Time because it's like the worst written chapters in some of the best written books, and some of the worst written books with some of the best written chapters, and I don't know what to fucking do about the fact that it is all things.
It is really all things. Yeah.
And I like, it's crazy.
Hey, I have heard that the worst Wheel of Time critics are the Wheel of Time fans. So I think that means
because
you're a fan.
only the fans would get through it. Because if you're not a genuine fan of this, how do you read past book 8?
And so many people do fall off. The number of people who have said they've told us or they share online. Yeah, I fell off of it. I'm like, I get it.
And Will says, I say that Wheel of Time is a B+ series, but it's so long it's got a lot more A+ stuff in it than anything else in fantasy. I agree with that.
That's totally fair. Yeah.
It's just wild. This series has been a reading experience unlike anything I've ever gone through.
True.
Because
truly.
it is the most inconsistently written series I've ever read in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I know at the end of book 1 what the quality of all of the books of a series will be, because most writers write pretty consistently, at least within a series. They'll write a different series, they'll feel very different. But, I know what the relative quality of every single Stephen King book is going to be.
Yeah.
Because he writes to a certain quality, and some of his books are a little bit better, and some of his books are a little bit worse. Mm-hmm. But Robert Jordan writes, the best chapters, and then the next chapter will be one of the most boring, pedantic things I've ever read in my life. And they are side by side, and I've never experienced it before.
And I think that that's especially highlighted for us because we break up the books. Yeah. If we covered, this entire book, for example... we would definitely we would gloss over things more, right? Mm-hmm. But because we have this set up the way that we do, mm-hmm. those things are, the low lows are highlighted, but the high highs are also highlighted. So it makes for a strange reading experience for sure.
It's unlike anything else.
Purple Asha, thank you for the super chat.
I love it, except for all the parts I hate. Proceeds to list a solid 75% of the series. I don't think it's that much.
No, especially because the beginning 6 books, we were super high on most of it.
Yeah, the only thing in the first 6 books I didn't love was the Nynaeve Elaine circus.
The circus,
plot.
Yeah.
But other than that, the first 6 books are literally top tier. They're all great. There's not really a bad one among them. Back then I was The Great Hunt is my least favorite Wheel of Time book. And that was only because it was my least favorite among 6 great books. I was if I have to rank them, The Great Hunt is the bottom, but it doesn't matter. I loved all these. Kind of the way I ranked Star Wars, where The Rise of Skywalker is my least favorite Star Wars movie. I still enjoy watching it. I think it's fun. I know you don't, but that's fine. We have different perspectives, right? But one of the things that's different about a Star Wars movie versus one of these books is my commitment time-wise. I have much higher expectations of an 800-page book than I do of a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was Thor: Love and Thunder the greatest movie ever? No, but it was 2 hours and 12 minutes of my time, and I had fun at the movie theater. I laughed a few times, and then I walked away and was it's over. Whatever, who gives a shit?
And it's true, the longer the movie, the higher expectations I have for...
If your movie's 3 hours, The Batman, I had much higher expectations of that because you're spending more of my time.
Yeah.
This is a lot of reading.
This is a long Batman.
And so my expectation is higher because I'm giving more of my life to you.
Yeah.
Be better.
I think that's totally valid. There is so much good in this.
There is.
That we are keeping going. We do want to keep going, but breaking it down does really highlight the weaknesses, and I never want to gloss over stuff in book club. The reason it's so long and the reason it's so in depth is because we like to go into what we don't like, but also what we do like. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there has been more of what we don't like in the past couple books. That is just an unfortunate part of the series that I think a lot of people agree with us on.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get to the final battle, that last chapter.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
And be fuck yeah! I want it so bad.
We're also going to have this weird 200 hours of content we made about our experience doing this.
So many hours.
And I think that what's going to be interesting in the aftermath of this is going to be people who look at it, who watch it later and are you know what? Your Slog episodes didn't feel as sloggy because I was able to know that the next episode was coming. Whereas now, the people who are complaining about it week to week, I think people are going to have the exact same complaints about the Nerdy Wordy Book Club that we do about the books in the weirdest fucking way.
There's like a slog of our podcast for a few weeks reflects the slog of the books.
I think that's 100% going to happen, right?
Fair, yeah.
And like, I think it's valid. I think that like
the Nerdy Wordy slog
struggled. And I even think today, like I think people will look at my talk today and think that I'm being very negative, and I'm not. I'm trying to have fun with it. And so I'm kind of making fun of Elaine, and like I think that we're trying to be more playful in our negativity now than back in the slog when I was like, this is bad and I'm mad and I hate it and I want to leave and I want to go home.
That was also a lot of disappointment and falling off the cliff of the high highs, right?
Yeah.
Those lows are really emphasized when you've just read fucking Do Might Wells, you know? And I think that that's important to take into account.
Yeah. Nerdy Wordy Book Club turning into Critical Role levels of content. Just you wait. We have plans for the future. Guys, I've already started to come up with the plot of the Wheel of Time role-playing. It's probably going to be 4 or 6 sessions, I think. I think that's a good...
Fair. Yeah.
I think it's a good... Yeah, we're going to do like...
Seems
it's going to be
short,
fun.
But okay.
But like, yeah, it's so funny. This has been such a weird adventure, and I'm so glad people are on it with us. It's been so strange to like share thoughts on something this deep before.
Is there going to be a slog episode of the D&D?
No. Fuck no.
No, I know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I couldn't. I would just start throwing Trollocs at you guys.
Fair enough. Apparently you can just have 100,000 to throw at any point, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dwayne Swab, thank you for joining the Nards of the Nerd
to the Nerd Table.
Table.
We really appreciate you. At this, like, even when the books are not at their pinnacle, like, we still love book club.
Oh, this is the best part of the week, for sure.
Yeah, and, like, your support, it means everything to us, like, for real. So, thank you all.
Disciple of the Void, if you think shopping sessions are the slog of D&D, you're not shopping right.
You can make shopping sessions very interesting.
Just try and buy drugs. Should we get to the best part of the book so far?
Best part of the book. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, y'all. When we were doing the reaction to this... Oh, we should actually get through the right stuff first. Varen left...
Varen left a letter and is like, peace, don't trust anyone except Ted Swain.
What we really need was more characters off on their own plot lines that we don't know about. That's great.
Rand asks Loyal to help close the remaining waygates and watch them. And Loyal's like, look, I can't. And Elder Hamon is like, well, I guess I would be the best candidate for this adventure. Guys, Elder Hamon just wants to go on a fucking adventure. He's fucking Bilbo Baggins. And is like, I'm ready. Let's go. So I hope we get an Elder Hamon POV at some point. Just like one chapter. That would bring me joy. Maybe it'll be next book's prologue.
Matrick, yes, I did get to the Scanlan Spice arc. Spice?
It's spicy.
Should we have a live where we just discuss the first half of Critical Role Season 1? Would people be interested in that? I would love to just sit and chat with you guys.
Just talk about Critical Role.
How I feel about the first 70 episodes of Critical Role. So we cut over to Nynaeve, and Nynaeve is in bed because she's tired. She's been channeling a lot. She's been healing. She's been doing some shit. And Lan is at the window being a broody Batman-esque character.
Broody Batman.
He's a broody Batman.
You got a lot of support for a Critical Role.
All right, I'll schedule like a live stream and we'll just like chat about my feelings about the first like 70. We'll figure it out.
We'll give you guys notice. We'll announce it in the Discord.
Yeah, that'll probably be later. That'll be next week after Toronto Comic-Con this weekend. Guys, if you're going to Toronto Comic-Con, we're only going to be there Saturday night. So we'll be there from like 3 to whenever. So if you want to see us, come DM us and let us know where you are, and we'll try and meet anyone who's at Toronto Comic-Con this weekend.
Yeah. Zedrock, thank you for the super chat.
Critical Role, yes.
Okay.
It's my new favorite thing. Ulriquino says, yeah, I can't imagine reading these books without the ability to gloss over the bad and skimming over the problematic. I skimmed over some stuff and you guys got so mad at me for it. I only skimmed over descriptions of dresses and apparently 2 on skin color, and y'all got so pissed. Someone was a $50 patron who... $50 a month patron. Maybe I should say this publicly, but I think it's so funny. They
They were
canceled.
not happy.
They've given us $50 a month for like many months, and then they were like, I can't believe you don't read every word of the books. You don't deserve my money. And they canceled their Patreon subscription. And I was like, that is fucking hilarious.
Like, you know what? Hey, it's your money. You do what you want. But yeah.
I was like, that, of all the things I've said on my shows, that's the reason that you cancel being a Patreon is because I don't read
the dumb shit you say.
It's not your terrible takes. It's the fact that you don't read every word about every dress.
Yeah. Fashion is not Nerdy's strong point. It's fine.
Oh my god.
No, it's their money. They can do what they want. It was funny.
Oh no! They can do whatever they want. It was just the fact that in the exit interview they took the time, like, cancel your subscription. Like, guys, this is free content. We're not asking for anything.
Yeah.
It was just so funny to open up the like exit surveys on Patreon and have it be like,
there's like, yes, this is a reason.
It's because you didn't read the dress descriptions. I was like, all right.
Yeah, all right.
all right. Let's get to Nynaeve. So Nynaeve is being a rational human being, and Lan, for the first time in the series, is not.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
This confused me. Okay, this confused me. Lan is like, you know what? I feel like I'm not doing enough here. I'm gonna go die.
Well, and he's like, Rand should be paying attention to the Borderlands, not the Sanshin. And I'm like, dude, the Trollocs are here. You're looking at their bodies. I hate to tell you this, but like, the Borderlands, Lan is too aware of the fact that the Trollocs can travel through waygates and don't need to actually come through Tarwin's Gap to be so focused on it. They can teleport. Lan, you know that the Forsaken can open gateways. Like,
yeah.
I understand why the Nynaeve stuff is so good. I get why the Nynaeve stuff is so good.
It's
100%.
Incredible. Yeah.
But the setup for it wasn't great to me, and that's why I didn't in the reaction. Like, thinking back on it.
Lan is like broken. Like, he's upset. He spent his whole life defending the Borderlands, and everyone in the Borderlands just picked up and fucked off.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, well, I guess someone's got to protect them. I'm gonna go die. But somebody's got to do it, I guess. And I was like, Lan, no.
But Lan is dedicated to fighting the Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this would have worked for me if it was before the Trollocs had showed up.
Yeah.
I think that these events should have been flipped. Because I think that if you had put the scene of Lan being like, we're sitting in this mansion doing nothing, waiting for this letter for the Sanshin, we should be fighting the Trollocs. Let me go fight the Trollocs. And Nynaeve was like, you know what? You're right. You have a mission. I'll take you to do that.
Yeah.
But instead, he's like, I need to be fighting the Trollocs. And I'm like, dude, what do you think happened yesterday? There's 100,000 dead Trolloc bodies outside. Your mission is right here. And I think that if you had flipped them and Lan had just missed the Trolloc battle, I think that this narratively would have clicked in a little bit better for me.
Lan did much. The Channelers kind of took out everybody.
Sure, but Lan's whole, like, the final battle is going to be in Tarmangaden. Doesn't make sense because they can teleport.
The final battle is going to be in the Borderlands.
Sorry. Tarmangaden's going to be in the Borderlands.
I also don't see why it would be in the Borderlands either, but that's me personally. Josh, welcome back to the Nerd Table. Final few pages of this chapter are beloved to the fandom. I think a lot of us who voted for it forgot it's attached to an otherwise mid-chapter. Totally fair. Like, valid. The end of this chapter fucking slaps.
Yeah, no, it does. Because Nynaeve's character development is so fucking good, right? Yeah. And, like, the scene with the merchants is amazing.
Yes.
It is the setup for it that weakened it on the first reaction to me, because I was hung up on, so Lan's just going to go into the Blight by himself? Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
But how is that going to help anybody? He doesn't even know if the Trollocs are there, right? The Trollocs were here yesterday. He could just be wandering the Blight looking for shit forever.
Maybe he knows that there's 10 million Trollocs.
Yeah, but what the fuck is he going to do about it by himself?
And that's the thing, is he's like, yeah, I have this desire to go die defending my homeland. And it's like, okay, that's not really something I can relate to, but I understand that it is a character motivation that works for people. Like, Lan is not okay, right? Since Moraine left, Lan is definitely not okay.
But he also is married and, like, leaving his wife to go.
But she's the one who understands it. She's the one that's like, you have to go. And he's like, yeah.
I know. I wish, I feel like there's a way that this could have been set up where, like, I would have enjoyed all of it. And instead, I only like the Nynaeve half of it, and I'm just disappointed in Lan.
Like, Lan, why? Colonel Sandals, welcome back to the Nerd Table. This scene is one of my favorite emotional moments between the Malkia reaction and Nynaeve finally becoming an adult, mature woman. I agree.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah. The Nynaeve stuff is fantastic.
We said in our reaction that, especially having read New Spring, this hits hard. Like, there were people that were like, yeah, skip New Spring. I'm so glad that we didn't. There's good shit in New Spring. We really like New Spring, and there's a lot of stuff in that book that affects moments like these that makes them hit harder.
And Bryce says, but Lan was so hard. You like it when Lan is hard. That is true.
You're not wrong. Yeah. You're
David Zoller says, could have maybe worked if Lan had been arguing about this for a few chapters. Agreed. It's just set up. This is something where, like, and because of the Avienda in the last thing and then Lan here, this is me being like, and Varen leaving to some extent, although Varen is much more of a side character, and I don't mind her leaving. I need them to start... this could have also worked for me, and I said this in the reaction, if it came after the resolution of one of the plot lines we're in, rather than just being a new plot line that is, like, I feel like we're still spidering out instead of resolving anything.
Yeah.
And the only plot line that's weirdly resolved in this book is the Galad White Cloak plot line. But that didn't end anything because we weren't spending that much time with the White Cloaks before it. Yeah. And it just kind of introduced us to the fact that that is also a plot line. So that almost was like a really cool inciting incident for a new plot line rather than the end of something, even though it is kind of, for Galad, the emotional ending of Morghase's rape and like the consequence of that, even though it doesn't affect Morghase yet and we need to see her closure with that as well.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of waiting for like them to... I want Robert Jordan to stop introducing new things and to get to the things that he has introduced, and then we can get to new things later. Like there is room to do... The order of events feels wrong right now.
Yeah.
And I want the order of events to kind of start getting into a place where, like, I don't have to keep track of where every fucking person is because nobody's together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're starting to get to the point where, like, of our main characters, Nynaeve and Rand are together. Egwene is by herself. Elaine is by herself. Avienda's by herself. I guess Min is with, like, Rand also has Min. But, like, Matt is by himself.
Are splintering off.
Perrin is by himself. And, all, like, those are probably the main characters of the series. Only Rand is with somebody else. Everybody else is off in their own plotline with their own goals, doing their own thing. None of it seems to be headed towards Tarmangaden. And I'm just kind of waiting for the main characters to finish off these plot lines that have been going on. I think this is going to ever.
I think this is going to help lead us into Tarmangaden. Like I'm hopeful that Lan is right, that Tarmangaden takes place in the Borderlands along the Blight, like that's like part of it, and that this like funnels into more what the last battle looks like. Like, brother, welcome back to the Nerd Table. We appreciate you. And Arzu, welcome back to the Nerd Table as well. Thanks for being an ARC.
Can you guys do a reaction to chapter 27 for next week? That's what I voted for.
So Blue commissioned the extra chapter reaction, which is why we did it. We can't react to every option.
Yeah, we're not gonna react.
The book,
yeah.
Unfortunately,
if someone wants to commission it, we'll do it. But
it is
time consuming. So yeah, and we have a busy week because of the con this weekend, and
that's also
we're getting ready for Star Wars Celebration, y'all. The Nerdy Wordy Book Club going to Star Wars Celebration. We are Friday, 1 p.m.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess we should have said that.
And we'll have pins for people. We have Ahsoka pins. We might also have some like pins of us. So
yeah.
This might have been asked before, but are you planning to submit an entry to the Wheel of Time Idol this year? When is that due?
Well, I think it's like now.
When would we have to have something done by? Because that makes a big difference. If it's like May, maybe. If it's tomorrow, probably not.
Probably not. Bitstorm, welcome back to the Nerd Table for 14 months.
Thank you, Bitstorm.
Let's go. On this, that was what you, read.
So yeah,
we'll see. Yeah.
That's kind of the end of it. Nynaeve goes, she is like, ride for Malkier, and Aldragoran, who we've already made fun of his name.
It's fine. It's fine name. It's just funny beside Mandragoran, whatever. Yeah.
It's a beautiful scene. Nynaeve, I don't know how the fuck she found this guy.
Well, first she's
she
like,
just walking around
first
looking for men wearing Midori?
First she's like, Lan, I will take you to the Borderlands. And he's like, okay, thanks. But she's like, you gotta promise me that, what exactly does he promise? that, like, if people go with him, that he won't go alone.
Yeah. Because he's like, I'll never lead men into the blight. And she's like, well, shut the fuck up and lead men into the blight. I'm not fucking...
Yeah, and he's like, okay, fine, whatever, wife, whatever you say. And then she drops him up in fucking Saldea and is like, you have to walk through every goddamn town, city, and village from here on the way to the blight. And god damn it, are you gonna like it?
Yeah. And then she teleports ahead of him to a city. She literally leaves him on the cliff at the edge of the ocean. Like, it's as far from Tarwin's Gap Tooth as possible. And...
Yeah.
I guess she's just walking around looking for merchants wearing Hidori. Like, I don't know how she found this guy in a city she's never been in.
That would be my guess, yeah. Looking for people...
She just kind of lucked out.
...who belong to Malkyr. That might be a full day later that she dropped Lan off. We don't actually know.
Yeah, maybe.
Could have taken her a day.
Yeah, and I guess maybe she just went into, like, the market. I was like...
He's also a very successful merchant. So she went around, asked a handful of people, hey, any Malkyri, anyone who still wears the Hidori, because she's got the Kisan on her face. So people might have, like, been able to point her in the right direction.
Oh, sure. It just was funny to me that... Because at first I was like, oh, it can't be Nynaeve, because she's never been to Saldea before. So she's just, like, walking around, like, does anyone know where any Malkyri are?
Yeah,
I'm looking for Malkyri. I don't know where I am.
I don't know where I am.
Well, and the magic of Randland is that everyone speaks the same language. So at least she can talk to people.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Okay, so apparently it's the beginning of April for the Idol. So
I don't know, guys. That's in 2 weeks. We got a lot between now and then. We might have missed the Wheel of Time Idol this year. I wish we should have been more.
We've had so many good ideas for it, too. Yeah. And I can't remember a single one. I do love that for me.
She literally tells the guy that she's asking people about people with a lot of pigeons. Oh, no, I get that. I'm saying that, like, but she's in, like, a semi-major city. Like, even just the amount of time it would take to find somebody like that, it just was funny to me. When it was like, oh, it's Nynaeve, and I was like, wow, she's, like, really dedicated to this. She's probably been walking for hours.
Of course, it's Lan.
Well, but she also can't open the gateway in the city, right? So she opened a gateway, like, in a field somewhere, walked into town, and then, like, we're talking about, like, a full day of her life.
She took her time. Yeah, she would have,
Logistically, this is a big project.
Lan is worth it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, Lan is 1,000% worth it.
Yeah.
I just, like, was like, as soon as I started thinking about it, I was like, god damn, Nynaeve, like,
it's also
how the fuck did she pull this off?
It was interesting getting Aldragoran's perspective of this, too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, it's great.
POV. Yeah. You know, like, some woman walks in, she's got this weird finger bracelet thingy. I was like, Nynaeve, what are you doing?
Yeah.
She's like, yep, send pigeons to every single one of your contacts.
Which is great. It's a really cool...
Yeah. Lan is gonna have a fucking army.
Yeah.
He's gonna get to, like, Faldara, and there's just gonna be, like, 100,000 people waiting for him.
Yes, I hope so. I hope there is someone for them to fight. I kind of would love it if they ride through Tarwin's Gap Tooth and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Because they've said the Blight has been pushing back lately.
True.
So, like, I kind of would love if the Golden Crane gets to Falmoran and they ride into the Blight at Tarwin's Gap Tooth and they just kind of are like, there's trees. Does anyone see any Trollocs?
To be fair, the trees are pretty evil.
The trees are pretty evil?
Trees are pretty evil.
There are those stinger thingies, the sticks.
The stick bugs.
Yeah. Like, there might be things for them to fight, but, like, I would just kind of love it if, like, they, like, find it, and, like, the Dark One is like, why are you guys here? And they're like, we're here to fight your army. And the Dark One's like, I sent them through the way gates. What? Did you think I was gonna send them, like, physically over land? I can teleport my army around. Why would they be here? What would be the purpose of that? And the Dark One's just like, you guys can hang out if you want. Like, my people are fighting, like, 800 miles south.
Grab a chair, you know? Come have a drink.
You really didn't think this one through too much. We can teleport our army around.
No, I think Lan knowing where, like, the last battle is going to happen, it's got to mean something.
He thinks it is. And even Rand is like, I don't know that that's true.
It means the way gates, I think, because they can't go through gateways.
The way gates, sorry. They're the same word backwards.
Waygate and gateway, yes.
So, like, I'm struggling with it because my dyslexic ass they're the same word to me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Same shit. Yeah, the Golden Crane flies for Tarmangaden.
The Golden Crane flies for Tarmangaden.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And the Hyundai Tucson that we just purchased will be known as the Caracarn with 71% of the vote.
I wish that fit on a license plate.
Me too. But yeah, Bella lost. It's the only thing Bella's ever lost.
The only thing, yeah. Caracarn!
Ida says there seems to be more shadow spawn than humans. I don't think that's possible, because aren't they made from humans?
Made from humans?
James Smith, thank you for joining the Nards.
James, thank
Hello,
you.
as usual from work, saying hi, have a great one.
Welcome back.
Did. This was a fun show.
Yeah, welcome back to the Nerd Table. We appreciate
I enjoyed
y'all.
the podcast today. I feel like we had some good jokes. We had some fun.
We did.
It was some interesting week of reading. I'm hopeful that this next week brings some closure to some things.
Uh-huh.
I'm hopeful that we start getting there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hopeful that we don't spend like 4 chapters with Egwene in the White Tower not doing anything.
Well...
You know what I mean?
Well.
I want some motion here.
Chapter 21, Within the Stone.
That's how the Dark
Rand.
One gets all those Trollocs from Rand. Expedited Waygate shipping.
All right, we got Rand. We got more Rand. So that's cool.
Trollocs do breed. Okay.
Yeah. Methany, thank you so much for that super chat. We appreciate you. And Sammy as well. We definitely appreciate Sammy.
And Bryce says, I have a feeling Egwene's going to do something dumb in this book. Egwene?
What? In this economy? What? Doing something dumb could definitely cost you a lot of money in this economy. I'm just saying. You're welcome. I promise it's gonna be okay.
If you guys saw the reaction, I made that joke at Claris yesterday, though, to
You
get
did.
back at
I
her.
was very proud of you. No, I loved it. I was here for it. The mud of the outer city gave way to paved streets at the walls of Tyr, where the first thing Rand noticed was the absence of guards. Despite the lofty stone ramparts with their towers, the city was less defended than Steading Shanghai, where he and every other human had been gently but firmly refused entrance at first light. No.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely not.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the archers' balconies on the tower were empty. This does not bode well. The fuck?
Great. Can't wait to find out what bullshit's going on in Tyr. I really hope everyone's not dead. That would be sad. The nerdy Gertie man? Am I the nerdy Gertie man?
Nerdy, what? Like Gertie, like gourds? What is Gertie?
Oh, that phone call was the director of that thing I'm doing next week.
Oh, just wanted to chat.
Just wanted to welcome you.
Cool. Well, that's really cool.
Guys, I booked something.
Booked a gig.
You're all going to see it, and we're all going to be okay with that.
That's all you need to know.
Y'all, get ready.
I'm not gonna say anything. You share as much as you want to share.
I'll share it once it's filmed.
Once it's filmed. That's fair.
Bozamian says, good news to everyone except my mom.
Oh, please.
Just make sure your Amazon Prime accounts are up to date.
Yeah.
Cocaine Bear, please. Cocaine Bear Part 2, I wish.
Right.
No, it's a cool job. I'm very excited to do this job. There is an element of it that is my penis, and we're just all gonna live with that.
Wow.
Yep.
You make it sound like you booked a porno. There's an element of it that is my penis.
There's an element of it that is my penis.
But I promise it's on Amazon Prime, so it's actually not a penis. Don't worry about it.
Sounds like a hard role to play. No, actually, it has to be very soft. That's the rule of that.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give you guys more details when we've got them. But yeah, thank you so much for book club today. What was your
High-low?
What was your high?
No, what was your high? We always start with your high.
I know, I'm switching things
The way
up.
this works is that, much like my childhood dinner table, we sit down and we commiserate over our lows, celebrate each other's highs, because that's how you stay close as a family. Today, we're going to apparently do it differently, where I'm going to start with my high, then Clarissa will do her low, then I'll do my low, then she'll do her high, because we compliment sandwich this beesh.
Hell yeah.
So, boom. My high.
Your high was booking this gig.
Well, yeah, that was huge. Especially because I was like, I'm never going to get this job.
I know.
My high, that's tough. There's some really good shit in this chapter.
There is good shit.
I'm gonna go with Luce there and taking the power and then being awesome. That was fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will agree that was a good time.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Scary for a moment.
Yeah.
Katarina, welcome back to the nerd table. I appreciate that. Yeah, okay. My low is in 1 week we'll find out the consequences to the mercenaries switching sides.
Yes.
I was like, okay, or now. Could be now. But okay. Yeah, that's my low.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that with your low, and I'm gonna say my low. And my low of this section is my low of the Wheel of Time.
Okay.
Is that Robert Jordan created a world that I love and characters that some of them I love a lot. While at the same time having perhaps the worst economy of storytelling I've ever read. And it is we talk about it all the time, and we've beaten this horse to death. You know what I mean? And I know that, but it is truly the most amount of words and pages spent on not moving a story forward.
Yeah.
And I just think that this same story, the same story written with first of all consent, and a little bit less glamorization of some of the things that we don't love as much.
Yeah, man.
But with some economy of storytelling in terms of plot per page, I think that this really could have been like one of my favorite series ever.
Yeah.
And right now, it's just not shaping up to be that. It's shaping up to be 6 amazing books that kind of get very mid after that.
Yeah, they lost their way. We're not at the end yet, so we'll have to see if it finds its way back.
Yeah, and so it's just the parts of this chapter that are more of that. God damn, did he need an editor?
Yeah.
What's your high?
My high was going to be that moment with Luce Theron's like letting go of the power, like that tension between everybody. But I'm gonna say my high is that final moment. Nynaeve having this really beautiful motivation and character growth, and doing this for Lan, and just trying to set him up to succeed as much as possible, letting him do his thing to try and fulfill whatever feelings he has for Malkier and the Borderlands, and just being there for him in the best way that she possibly can. It was beautiful. That moment was... Katarina, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for that super chat. SCK. I still don't know what SCK is, but we're going to do Smut Corner. And before we do, we are going to say that you should like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us around the internet. I'm at nerdynightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
Leave mean comments down below because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. This episode, that algorithm goddess is...
probably Nynaeve. She's really hungry for Lan's bond.
Yeah, it's Nynaeve.
She's hungry for Lan's bond, and unfortunately they didn't resolve that.
Swedish, cool.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Still, whoever the fuck it is has the bond.
No. Maurice?
No, that's not it.
Mirelle.
Mirelle, yeah.
Yeah, Myrelle.
Yeah.
But Mirelle is a different character.
Yeah.
Robert Jordan.
Yeah, I would like for Nynaeve to have that bond, but it's fine. Yeah, definitely the algorithm goddess.
Maybe Lan wouldn't be such a sad boy if she held the bond, and he could be like, oh my god, she loves me so much.
She loves me so much! Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye. If you don't like Smut, get out of here.
Yeah. So let's get into sexy times.
Sexy times.
I love the idea that Loyal is just like desperate to not give Irith a facial, but to come on her ears. Like, that is like the facial of the Ogier society, is like just like a hard boning, and then at the end she like gets on her knees in front of him and like turns to the side, and he just like jizzes all in that canal.
Yeah. It's not my favorite image to think about, but yeah, the whole ears thing.
Yeah. Well, he was desperately trying not to finger her ears in front of his mom.
I know, He's like, I almost fingered her ears, but my mom is here. And I was like,
oh my God, I could hardly keep myself from fingering her ears.
It's like, why? Why are we doing this?
My mom wasn't as wet as I expected her to be.
They also like knows, and they're like, wow, we did this for a really long time.
Oh
considering
my God.
the people in the room. So all I will say is that I hope Aerith and Loyal have really exciting first night as married couple. You know, they had their marriage, and then they had the heat of battle. Like, things are about to get spicy.
Yeah, I'm really glad that this manor has Ogier built rooms. Because can you imagine those two fucking on a human bed?
No, they would break it.
Oh, they would destroy it.
Yeah, no.
You also know Lan dicked Nynaeve down hard one last time before we went to the Blight.
No, he said he didn't. He's like, hey, will you stay with me one more night? And she's like, no. No time.
Oh, no. But I mean, like, the night before. The Tonks attacked, you know Lan was already thinking about this, right? And so he just fucking obliterated her.
I also love that he's not allowed to tell her what to do except when they're in private.
Yeah.
Hot.
And he's always hard. That's his secret.
Lan is always hard.
He's always hard.
Rigid. At all times.
I love that we got to Smut Corner and the comments fully stopped in the chat.
Everybody's like, oh my God, I don't want to think about ears.
There's a new comment.
I don't want to think about ear sex.
Ogier Musk is probably really stanky. I don't know. I feel like the Ogier are very clean people.
It might be very like floral because they like the trees.
Okay.
You know?
Or like a sandalwood.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Dig that.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. Ogier probably come like a fire hose.
Ogier rings are considered extreme body piercing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's like a clit hood piercing.
She pierced her ears. God damn it.
She pierced her ears. For that extra pleasure.
Oh my God.
She pierced her ears and now she's always wet.
Ears are... I imagined ears being wet for a second. I was like, what the fuck?
No, but you know, if you like, you can... Some people will get a clit piercing and then they're like always aroused because of it.
Really?
Yeah, it can go wrong. There's like a 30% chance that like a clit piercing will like cause you to have like a constant state of arousal.
A 30% chance.
Maybe it's not that high, but it is pretty... It's higher than you want it to be.
Right. I mean, any percent chance is like higher than you want it to be, but I understood.
James Ross says Rand has been in Min for the last 3 books. That's why we haven't seen him.
True.
I feel like Logain and Cad Swain fuck just to like get their like anger at each other out. Like I feel like Logain and Cad Swain are having like angry sex at each other. No, Logain
is fucking his...
Tavain and Gabrielle.
No, not Tavain.
Isn't that who it is?
I mean, she's one of his like warders, but they're not fucking. She's like, no, never.
Nah, just to piss off the people in our chat, I'm gonna say they're having threesomes because everyone in our chat apparently hates threesomes.
Sure.
Couldn't be us.
It could.
What? That's fair. That's honest.
Yeah. I
really hope my mom doesn't watch this part of the show.
She never makes it to the
end. Did we go
for
3 hours and 15 minutes?
Yes, we did.
Oh, fuck.
Oopsie. I don't think chat's upset about that. All right, bye, guys. Bye, guys. We'll see you later. Go join.
What are we reading next week? 21 through 27, I think.
You know what? We can find that out super fucking quick. If you ever want to know what the split is, you can go into the Discord Wheel of Time. Go to the pinned things. We are reading chapter 21 to 27.
All right. We'll see you next week for more of this bullshit.
Yeah. 21 to 27. So, yeah, catch you later, you fucking nerds.
Do something nerdy tonight, y'all.